Oh, we got a good chapter here this week. So before we get to the good chapter, though, we have to get to the great cover page.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, dude. I mean, people often forget what they love the most until it's gone. But here we have it. We got Yamato's cover page journey, and she finally made it to Yasui's shrine. Oh, doesn't it feel a great part? We finally did it.
Yeah. Just like how I looked a second ago, this cover story puts me on like life alert. Nothing makes me sicker than us skipping Kawamatu, bro. How did we get a Kawamatu mention and then we just skip him and we go into the heart of Hakumai without even a mention of our favorite frog fishman, right?
Funny you say that, because we're still going to meet Kawamatsu.
I still can't believe that you didn't know he was a fishman. And we met Ballfingers, bro. Wait, what is Ballfingers? Now that I think about it, he's not a
Ballfingers
frog
Garotini,
fishman.
the guy in Shanks' crew?
Yeah, is he a frog fishman? That
I
doesn't
don't
make
know
sense.
what the hell he is.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Frog fishman makes no sense, right?
Frog fishman. I mean, that's kind of what Kawamatsu is, I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, I'm typing in Ballfinger on Google.
Yeah, we're like the only person who's
bro.
ever looked up this guy from Shanks' crew. Ballfingers
Ballfinger?
Garotini. What is
He's
he?
a music producer in Germany. What?
Oh, it turns out that he's a regular human that just has a frog-like appearance.
No!
Yeah, that's what it says.
No!
That's what it says. That's what the wiki says, man.
Dude.
He's not an actual
crazy.
fishman. He's not anything special. He's not a different race. He's just a guy that looks like a frog. Man. Is that kind of cursed?
You know, the person who wrote this wiki page was questioning themselves. They were like, ain't no way. No, just a regular dude. No.
Yeah, even they were confused. They're like, no, what? This
The guy has a verbal tick. Ribbit, so we just gave him Tourette's too. Like,
yeah,
what?
he just says ribbit. Why? Why does he ribbit, man? He doesn't have to.
That's crazy. Garotini is probably not his real name, right? No, Ballfingers is the epithet. So Garotini, he was born this way. Oh my god.
Yeah. Imagine having an epithet that is ball fingers.
Dude. I can't believe we didn't talk about this when you brought up the whole like Kappa frog thing with Kawamatsu. How did it not cross my mind that like Garotini existed? Ballfingers. This might be one of the most legendary characters. Like Ballfingers. Now that I Googled it, it's on my Google's history.
You know,
Oda got me. And
it's
he's not
funny
even a
thinking
fishman.
about him, because like whenever Shanks needs assistance from his fleet, he'd hit up Ballfingers, bro. I mean, technically Shanks wouldn't need assistance, and also Shanks doesn't want them to help because they're so weak, but still, you guys get the gist, right? Like, Ballfingers is no joke. Like, he's a part of the red-haired crew, essentially. My god.
I'm not on the internet as much, but I am in our comment section, and I'm seeing a growing request that like I feel like only comes in dark times, and the request is, where is the Sukiyaki segment? And we've been missing it. But as the cover story drops, more people like, where's Sukiyaki?
I wonder if you could like go through all of the Parcasts ever since Yamato's cover page journey started and just like time how long we talk about it each and every week. And I like to imagine it gets like lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser. We're just like, please move on, no more. Stop
until we
it.
get diseased again. Something strikes our brain and we revert back to the old ways, just like Sukiyaki, lying in for several years over and over again. That guy.
Dude, the thing is, I've said it before, I love Yamato, but is this really, no offense to Oda, is this really the best we could have given her? Like, you know, like, Oda, is this really the pinnacle of power? I don't think so. You know, I know Oda, man. We've been following One Piece for years now, decades even. I know Oda has it in him to make this cover story great. He's holding back. He's got to be holding back, right?
It was funny because before the Who's Who stuff, like just before Who's Who got revealed, I wouldn't self-proclaim it, but I could understand from a viewer's point of view. They could see like, damn, Par hates this stuff, and like But I was enjoying the cover story. I was worried about the potential. I was like, I don't see this shit going nowhere, bro. And then the Who's Who thing gave me hope. And then Who's Who lost, and like Yamato waited like a year before she did anything. And then she kind of lost. In my opinion, if Yamato's like the Superman of Wano, and like she was fighting like not even Batman villains. Like Superman would have no problems with Batman villains. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Low key, it was like that. But then it's like Superman struggled against like common day criminals. Like that's insane. And now we're skipping Kawamata. I don't like, where am I supposed to draw the line? You know what I mean? I was thinking before you asked me, like, you know, like when you really laid down the law about this cover story, I was gonna say, do you think Sukiyaki can make this pilgrimage faster? Like if he was doing it instead of Yamato?
Could Sukiyaki make this pilgrimage faster? I mean, he does wear stilts.
Yeah,
people who wear stilts, they get a little bit of an extra inchage in every step, right? So I think Sukiyaki would be quicker.
It would be,
and plus he's a Tengu,
because
and Tengu notoriously have wings too.
I was also thinking like he would not give a single fuck about any of the things Yamato is like. Oh,
dude, yeah, imagine like, hey, oh my God, Sukiyaki, women are being kidnapped. Minatomo's gone. Who has a base over there? And Sukiyaki just keeps on walking. He doesn't care at all.
The kids throwing rocks at him, dead. Like, here's some poisonous water, and then like the women going, my son did that shit when he was 8. Like, what are you complaining about? I don't see the problem. Moves on, sees the secret base. Like,
you're not wrong.
The daimyo. It just keeps moving.
Yeah, Sukiyaki, like, he would kind of no diff everything here, huh? Because he would just have no difference to it.
He would be a speedrunner in a lot of sense. And here's the thing. Like sometimes speedrunning, like watching the stream scene, like it's tedious, but then you get the hype moments. And I feel like one time through Sukiyaki speedrunning the pilgrimage, that would be worth. I would want to see how egregious he would be at ignoring the crimes and terrible. I need it. Like I
wouldn't even say hello to the daimyo.
Bro,
because he didn't want to even he didn't want to say hello to Momonosuke or Hiyori. He was like, I just tell him I'm still dead. Yeah, I don't want to reveal myself. And then he eventually did, so but curious. Man, he would have skipped so much.
Yeah, man. I think like I feel like it would be kind of interesting to see what would happen. Like it would be really comedic.
Just a what if.
Oda, please don't do this. Please
imagine
don't add
the what if
to the cover story.
Also has Sukiyaki going backwards. Like instead of doing the whole round trip, he just starts at the front and then just walks backwards. He's like, oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
He didn't have to travel at all.
Yasu won't know. All the regions. Like maybe it's like a requirement. Maybe he needs to go to all regions. He would just like touch. He'd be like, this is where I drew the property lines decades ago, right? Like,
yeah, it's good enough.
He would just do that. Yeah.
Man.
Damn.
So next
Sukiyaki.
week, we're going to see the Kawamatsu cover page story, and we're going to continue this, you know? Just because Yamato made it to Yasui's grave doesn't mean that it's over. We still have some fuel left in the tank. And how you feeling about that? Are you excited to see future events, or what's up?
No. I'm you know what? I think this cover story is Dami Reversy, bro. Instead of that, I want to ask, what would outrage you? And the thing is, this might not outrage you because you're not like a Kawamatsu fan, but how crazy would it be is if like after this one, we just go straight to Ringo and we just don't see Kawamatsu.
I wouldn't mind. I'm not a big Kawamatsu fan, like you said. You nailed it.
I would be upset. I'd be like, we mentioned him. We off screen the one Fishman daimyo. That's crazy. Oda, what are we doing? You know, like, damn, maybe Arlong was right.
I mean,
we need what?
I was gonna say, I'm hoping that when we get to Kawamatsu, he's like kidnapped or something.
What the hell? Why kidnap?
Just make it interesting. Like, I would be upset if Yamato's journey ended here. I wanted to keep on going. I want there to be a good payoff. I know Oda has it in him. So give us something wacky. Like maybe we get to Kawamatsu And here's this. Oda, take notes, unless you already have it written down. We get to Kawamatsu, and he's 1v2ing Kaido and Big Mom on the beach.
That's so crazy you said that.
What if, Kawamatsu's a fish person, so what if he's on the beach, and he's like, hey, look at who I found. And it's Kaido and Big Mom, but they're not Kaido and Big Mom anymore. It's Olin and KO.
KO?
Yeah, like how Lin got turned to Olin. So I turned Kaido into KO. Yeah, he's got amnesia.
You went super meta. Yo, you went so meta. You would. Oh my god.
What if they both have amnesia?
Damn.
Which would be awful. I think people would hate that.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised you owned it, because I thought you were leaving it blank so that I would obviously fill in the gaps and say amnesia, and you're like, that's your idea, and then put it on me. You didn't even do that. That's incredible.
No,
wow.
I mean, people don't like the amnesia trope. I don't think it's that bad. It's not great, but it's not like awful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most common phrase would be Big Mom amnesia, bad writing. I think that's like always like the thing, right? Like it's like lazy writing. I was never like that critical of it. It wasn't my favorite thing. If it means something, that's cool. I'm not waiting on it. But yeah, Kaido getting amnesia, what would that be like though? Wouldn't he just like, are we gonna say he's got daddy mode now? Like,
yeah, that would be he's Yamato crazy. And he's like, my daughter, I'm so sorry for all those years. Let's go to the park.
If Kaido was a good dad, would he be Zaddy?
I don't know. I'm not really up with the lingo.
Oh, damn. Comments, let me know. If Kaido was a good dad, would he be a Zaddy? Would that work there?
Is that even
this is kind of our generation, but like, yeah.
I think people realize that the term Zaddy is really dumb, so they stopped using it. I think that went out of meta like maybe 10 months ago.
No.
It's like you're building Morello Namicon in 2025. Like, what are you doing? On to the actual chapter now. We see that the giants from seemingly the artisan village have made it to the children. They're on the branch, they're running towards them, and since they have no idea what the hell is going on, they run towards the kids, and they try to, I don't know what he tries to do. He's kind of like just mean mugging the kid almost. Like, he just wanted to go up to the kids and stare at them, but he got too close, and of course he got pricked by Smers' thorn. He flies back, and then we see Imu use a Conqueror's Haki wave that ends up knocking many giants out. The giants here, the kids, and even the giants at the western village. Imuzaki's pretty insane, huh?
Yeah. I was waiting for the famous line.
Which one? This is mayhem?
No, the one that really rocked the oceans after the last time. The ones from Dory and Brogy, the metric, or Jinbei's reaction.
I saw people saying that. Yeah, they're like, Imu's not as strong as Shanks, because when Dory and Brogy saw Joy Boy's Haki, they said, that's like Shanks's, but they didn't say it here.
Yeah, and Jinbei didn't go, that's an ominous presence. Really overwhelming stuff going on there. He did that for what? Kaido. He did that for Shanks off of Wano. He did that for Saturn. Imu shows up. Jinbei's just like, crazy girl with arrows goes wild, goes burr, something like that. That's what the kids say, right? Burr.
Man, what has happened to you?
It's 3 a.m. I don't know.
You just have like all this new lingo, man. It's like Latin.
It's Pig Latin. Pig Latin's old. Do the young? I'm sure they know what Pig Latin is. Right? No, it's a dead language like Latin.
They really stopped teaching Pig Latin like very early on.
Wait, who taught Pig?
Yeah,
Who's
dude.
They?
My school taught Pig Latin for a little bit. First, like one or two classes, and then they're like, "Hey, check this out."
What?
Yeah. It was like that's where I first heard about Pig Latin. It was in school.
Your teacher?
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, it was like a meme, and I think that's why, like, obviously it died off. But
bro, I wish my teachers taught us memes. That's awesome. What the heck?
That's like an important meme, though, right? Pig Latin.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, we don't get any
Yes.
of the Haki descriptors out of Jinbei or Dory and Brogy this time around. A little bit unfortunate, right? I would love if they just like power scaled Force, kind of like how they did back in Egghead. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory, though, right?
Oh, really? You think it's self-explanatory? Because I'm looking. Okay, here's my metric. Okay, I'm looking at the old heads in the village where Ja Rule's at, and apparently, I would have been okay if they all were standing because they're so far away. But no, a guy passes out there, which means that this like old lady next to him is able to withstand Imu's Haki.
They have
Like,
greater
what's
willpower,
happening?
man.
Dude, that's crazy.
You know what?
Like, not even phased. We have some.
I kind of wish that Imu's Haki didn't knock people out. I wish it did something brand new, like in Kuroko no Basket, where like Akashi did like the ankle breaker, but he's like, no, now that I'm in the zone, your ankles will no longer get broken. I will make you kneel. Maybe it's like that, right?
Yeah, I wish.
That was pretty cool.
No. Yeah, I agree. I think Imu's power. If Imu's power was the description of Akashi's actual like descriptor of his power, that would be sick. Because I remember hearing what he could do, and then when he demonstrated, I was like, all right, that's a little lame. And then he went in the zone and was like, all right, okay, I guess that's all right. Because they said like, oh, everyone just drops to their knees, which sounds kind of like crazy. But it's
he
a
like triple
basketball
crosses
game.
his opponents. So the first one breaks their ankle, the second one makes them go to the other direction, and then the third makes them fall to their knees. Like, it's crazy. Kuroko no Basket's so funny, man. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. If Imu, that would make sense. And I think that it would be possible because Oda did say, in the SBS, someone asked him like, oh, if Shanks was at Fishman Island, could he knock out all 100,000? And I was like, well, yeah, but that's not the point. The point is like, it's about the intent of the thing. So like, it could be that no one got it, but that doesn't mean it's weaker. It's just like the intent. And so like, it kind of implies that like passing out is one of the ways to show like the domination, like the overwhelming thing. But if that's not the intent of it, then you could give fear to everybody, or you could do something like that, like make people buckle, which that would be kind of sick for a conquer. Like if the chapter is like reference like domination, then yeah, that'd be a sick thing to do. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we do get that, like with Imu's main body. So I'm like there's things like that I'm holding out for. I think it's possible.
What do you think Imu's intentions were with the Conqueror's Haki Flex this chapter? Because there is, like, I agree with you, right? It's all about intention. So what if this wasn't even Imu trying to knock people out? What if this was accidental? Like, oops, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, I think it was just a pause. I think, like, it's like, everyone, I'm here. Like, that's like, everyone on this island knows. Like, even if you're a child and you don't have Haki, well, you're probably asleep because she just slept you. But if you're like a competent adult anywhere on this island, some shit is dropping, even if you're not a combatant. Like, this is like waking up to like an ominous like day. It's like crazy vibes, right? And it's also a pause because there was like an ongoing plan set out by the Holy Knights, and as we see kind of with the dialogue, not that, well, this chapter kind of not changed it. I think Imu still has the like the urgency a little bit, but less. Like last chapter ended with like, hey yo, am I paying you? Like, you're on the clock, bro. Like, what's going on here? And so Imu showed up and there were some like inefficiencies. And so I think Imu's just like, all right, my time. Everyone stop. Everyone shh, me speak. And then they spoke, and now shit's going their way, right? And it was kind of just to lock everyone down for a second. I think that was mainly it. And I could agree with you in the sense that it's probably like not intentional to knock these people out.
Yeah, it's just like the guy doing a Kegel out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like,
and it was also
it
probably the beacon, like one of the intentions Imu says is like, you have to find a suitable king. So a suitable king, it might be like, okay, I'm gonna unleash like base level Haki. Base, whoever can like survive this, they're suitable, and whoever like ends up coming to me, they're probably like the best of the, like the people who. It's like a filter, you know what I mean? Like low key. If you made it this far, then you're probably suitable, and I'm just gonna choose eeny meeny. And then oh shoot, I recognize you guys from the wanted poster. That's awesome. I'm gonna say your epithets. That's probably also it too.
Yeah, and something interesting too with Imu's Haki is that Yarl's reaction to it. I found that kind of notable, right? Because Dory and Brogy, like you said, they're concerned. They know some bad vibes are on this island now, like you said. But Yarl looks kind of angry, right? He's like, ugh. Like, he almost recognizes it, which does bring back a theory that we talked about last week. But do you think there's a chance that maybe, just maybe, King Harold has associated with Imu in the past, and maybe King Harold was taken over, or maybe that Imu showed up at King Harold's throne room at some point? Do you think there's a chance?
Yeah. I didn't notice the Yarul thing. I do. I acknowledge at least like Yarul was the least like concerned. Like it was actually kind of interesting. It's funny because
he looked like he was ready to fight. Over.
Yeah, this was probably the most serious. Now looking at like the close up, Oda gave us a close up on only him.
Yeah.
Comparatively, like, yeah, obviously the kids and the parents of the kids who are running there, like that, I want to consider that as solo, like, like this is straight up just him. He didn't like isolate anybody else. And as much as we were making fun of Ja Rule in the past for being like a weird choice for Smers, just like he doesn't know what happened with the Loki thing. He didn't even say Loki did it. Everyone else just assumed, but like he said, like, and then I woke up with a sword in my head. Like it was kind of like that. And he's like, they were like, oh, he was trying to fight Loki, and like it wasn't even told by him. So there's a bunch of interesting things. And then he's 400 years old. What's interesting, like where my mind went to, is like, because he's so old, you just add one more of him. And I mean, he has a great granddaughter. Why couldn't he have a great grandfather? And wouldn't that great grandfather that like is in his life, like, know, like, some things and like some descriptions, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe history wasn't like written down, but like if like some things maybe carried over, and by word of mouth, like, and if there was anybody who could break the norm for that, I would think it would be the Giants, like, because their lifespans are so expansive that some of them probably, well, I mean, we don't know exactly what happened to their Void Century, but Yarul's like father could have been Void Century if he was 400. You know what I mean? Like, well, technically no, but like, point is that he could have like a direct link to the Void Century.
I mean, that's the conversation with all the Giants, right? And how silly it is, and that there has to be something else at play. Because you could say this for all the Giants, like, oh, like, yeah, since they lived till about 300 years old, then, like you said, their grandparents should know about the Void Century. Like, why don't they? Or there should be like, legible journals around the household that just talk about the Void Century, but there's not.
I think like
that's why people like the sugar idea a lot. Like maybe Sugar's Devil Fruit or something like that was back there in the past, and they use that to like wipe out everybody's memories and all like records.
Yeah, like Dory and Brogy are like what, 160, right?
Wait, who?
Dory and Brogy? What are they? They're 160, right? Or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, because like, yes, all the Giants can have a direct link, but like it's great, like at Yarul's at least double these dudes. And that's why I also think it's crazy that Goldberg, I think it was Goldberg, who was just like, yeah, my dad hunted Big Mom, and like they ran an expedition or whatever. Like she's some kind of game animal. But it's weird to me that like, no, not weird, there is a group of people that was eliminated apparently by Loki, but we're missing a generation of giants. Like, we haven't met like the 300, like old 200 to 300 to give like Yarul some context, right? We just have like sub 200-year-olds, which is Dory, Brogy and their crew, and then Yarul, and then it's like, wait, this guy is ancient. This guy like probably grew up with oars. Like, what are we? This guy might have like been told the stories of Nolan from Nolan. Like the time, like he might. Wait a second. He actually does he? Is it possible that he knows Nolan?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, but like that's the type of crazy like reality Yarul is, right? So like that's where my brain went to immediately. But I do like what you said earlier about the Herald thing, because that's another like huge question mark on the relationship that Herald had. And like Loki seems like the person who would give us the info because he seems to know. But then we have Mosa, which maybe we get it from Mosa with like Loki talking to Mosa. And then the feeling that I've been getting is that Imu hasn't done much personal interaction. Like, they're kind of just isolated. And I don't know if Herald... Like, Vegapunk didn't know about Imu, right? Like, technically...
Technically, not to our knowledge. I mean, I bet he had theories about him, though.
Right. I think theories, but like technically, canonically, Vegapunk has never even alluded to Imu at all. I don't think. The like and I agree with you. Like it wouldn't be that crazy if like Shaka's like, you know, had like a drawing like, oh, Stella left us this like anomaly drawing. We didn't know what to make of it, even though we are also Vegapunk. But this was his last message. He said, "Watch out," and he just drew this like blob, and like that was like Vegapunk's like hypothesis
so
on what Imu is, and then it ends up being exactly what Vegapunk got. You know, I wouldn't be surprised that Oda did some crazy shit like that, right? But canonically, he didn't know, and so I feel like and we know for a fact that Vegapunk met the Gorosei and traveled to the Holy Land, whereas we don't know that to be the case for Herald. Like at most, the Holy Knights visited him, and so I don't know if Herald knew about Imu. I'm curious if Loki is shocked by Imu, because Loki knows about like Holy Knights and etc. Like some of the things, and we just recently got the inkling that some of that information probably came from Rox himself. And so Loki knowing Imu, or like knowing in essence like that something like Imu existed, that could be a crazy pipeline for us to say that Rox knew about Emus and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's a lot of other ways that we can get like similar information about Herald. So I don't know if it needs to come this way. And I also don't think that Imu personally interact with Elbaf nor anything, to be honest. I mean, I'm still also debating the question of like, does Dragon know about Imu? But like, that's a divisive one, I feel like. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jarl knows about Imu. When it comes to the God Knights coming here to Elbaf, since we already have that established, we know that they had a connection to King Harold. I wouldn't be shocked if Imu came to Elbaf in this same form, where they simply took over and they negotiated with Harold, like one-on-one, like king to king. Like maybe King Harold is like, hey, I don't want to deal with the Holy Knights. Like, let me see your boss. And then the boss, you know, Imu's like, oh, I am the boss now. Like, they just take over. So it could be very similar to what we see here.
Imu would have to have come in Gunko's body, right? Or are we saying like it could just be that Imu took on like you said, like just someone else, but recreated this like black wings, the trident, the air, the thing, and like from what we can tell. Oh no, Yaro can't see her. She's way too far away.
Yeah, it's just like sensing Haki.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the same form. Doesn't have to be the same body. Just the Haki.
Yeah, just the Haki. Yeah.
It's like how Luffy and Wano was like, hey, like that's a familiar Haki, and we know that it was Shanks' Haki.
Yeah.
So it could just be like that.
That'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting for the depiction of Imu. I think this chapter did a lot of positive in terms of Imu, because like dialogue was a really, like, we started getting this crazy, well put together dialogue that I really liked, because it confronted with a lot of the things I was not like per se, because like, you know, the not like the fallback was always like, oh, the Holy Knights are playing a game, they're just messing around. But and I'm just like, damn, like, you know, this would have made things simpler or whatever. And then Imu showed up and said all that stuff. So that's really cool, and I liked it. And it took a different direction than the previous thing, where like you could spin the whole like, oh, nuke Lucia because it's closer as like a childish thing, and the other dialogue and add it all together as childish. But this one I think takes a different turn with it. So anything that adds to Imu like being competent, because that was another thing that I was saying about the Holy Knights, was like, damn, they wanted Elbaf and they like ignored it for like 20 years or 25 years, or, you know, the in between of Saul and now, to let these schools do whatever they want to do. And now they reverse course. Whereas Imu's kind of like very efficient, even with the Saturn thing, right? Like super efficient. As much as, you know, I hate to see Saturn leave the story, I definitely loved how efficient Imu was in that chapter, like Garling up, Saturn out, and like just like a lot of the things are now painting a really cool picture for Imu, I think.
Oh yeah, Emu's acting fast. They know exactly what to do, and that's what I really appreciate in this chapter. So when Imu shows up, they literally they go straight into ordering Killenham and Smers to do their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me wonder: was Imu watching this whole event go down from the Holy Knight's eyes, or do you think they just quickly processed what was happening here? Like they just looked around, they're like, okay, I see what's going on. Like they're kidnapping kids, they're making these demands, we're walking them to the ship. Killingham already started the monster thing. These kids have thorns on them. Like, how much do you think Imu knows? Do you think it was because he was like tapped into Gunko the entire time?
That is a plausible explanation. I don't see anything wrong with that route. I think the feel that I got would be a little bit more positive in my book. So it's not like I agree with that one. But I think the way I'd like it is, no, I think looking through makes more sense. My idea makes less sense. But yeah, like she showed up and like the awareness, like it's like Viola, you know, like Viola was said to be like an omniscient, like omniscient eye or something like that, like an all-knowing eye.
She had
like
the clairvoyancy fruit, right?
Yeah, and so like she could see through animals, which technically, yeah, like why couldn't Gunko Imu do that through their own people like Gunko, right? So like maybe Imu can look through other things. I think that's plausible. But to a certain extent, like if you took like observation Haki and cracked it out, then you could get to like an Enel state, right? Like Enel could hear conversations across the island. Maybe Emu's just 4 steps above that. See, hear, experience, like, you know, like full awareness. And not just full awareness, but like full mastery of the awareness, because that's another thing. Like having that much awareness could be a limitation. Like in other stories, it'd be like, oh, how do we overwhelm this person's awareness and then like use that against them, right? But then being masterful at it would be not allowing stuff like that to perturb you, right? And what we see is like, as like the way Oda's making Imu out to be here is like a level of coordination and understanding that like you'd almost expect of like a Vegapunk character, where like when we saw Cypher Pole invading Egghead, like I remember Shaka laid out like 6 orders or something like that, like just back to back, like man the ships, do this, and it's like all basic stuff, but it's like it felt really cool because we knew he was like the super smart guy, and he was also like, I think Shaka was like a reference, or at least like what I think a lot of people at the time were saying, like, Shaco's a reference to like a warlord, an African warlord or something like that, who was really tactical, and people were like, oh, maybe this is where this would be Usopp's Vegapunk or something like that. And then he did all those like commands, and then throughout it they were like, Shako was like managing all the different scenarios where all the Vegapunks were. And we don't know how much of that like necessarily was planned, but then we saw the whole like 2-week planning that made that stuff happen, all that stuff, right? And Imu comes in here, goes like, I can't do a rebellion, and then gets a status on Killenham, is aware that the Straw Hats are there, and like it almost feels like Imu knows that they're the Straw Hats, because it's like those urchins. It's like instead of insects, like chose a different word. It's like, usually the fallback for the Celestial Dragons, the insects. But Imu has used that kind of terminology before. So like urchins, this seems like, knowledgeable of that. But then also like the situation of, needing the leadership, and then seeing like Dory and Brogy right there, knowing where Yarul is, like just so many things just like falling into place. I feel like Imu's like, I don't know, it's just checking a lot of boxes I honestly wasn't expecting for Imu. Not that I was like lowering my expectations, but I don't think I was set up for like a super smart, I don't know, Imu. You know what I mean? Like,
you were hesitant,
but that's what it's feeling.
Yeah, you were just hesitant about all of it, which I'm glad this is the case, by the way. Like, I wanted a good final villain, even if he's not like the final one, because some people are on the Blackbeard train. But yeah, I'm just glad that he seems like a leader, right? That's been around for 900 years. Like, I can believe it.
Already.
So, real quick though, but their design, the black wings, the pitchfork, the tail, the long hair, what is going on here? Is this Imu's actual form? Is this just his form when he takes over Gunko? Is this one of many forms? How do you feel about it?
Where I'm at, I explained it in more detail on my stream, so I'm gonna save the time there. I think my closest interpretation to like what I believe the most would be that this is Imu's effect on a vessel, and it's dependent on the vessel. I feel like, so like when we see, not to skip ahead, but like obviously title of chapter, and at this point you guys know Dory giants, they undergo a transformation and they get black wings, they get a trident, forcibly get trident, it morphs the weapons all to become tridents. We don't get a good view if they have tails or not, because like Oda showed the top half of them for the most part, and then there was like the other three, but like they were like silhouetted kind of, so we don't know if they have the tails or not. But I was looking at that and saying like, is this not just like, wouldn't it make sense that they're like a more diluted form? And then I was like, the main difference right now would be the teeth. And it's like, dang, Gunko's teeth have been covered this entire time. So like, what if her teeth match? But even if they don't, you could see it as like a sliding scale. Well, Imu's not directly possessing them, so surely the demonic effect is greater if Imu herself is in control here. And then we also kind of get the inkling based off of the like prefacing incantation done with Dory or Brogy, that it felt like, and I'm still on the fence on this part, but it felt like this is what happened to the Gorosei. Like the Holy Knights and the Gorosei have the same thing done to them, but they also have a human form, like the Gorosei. It seems like they have the same, all the regeneration is the same, so they forewent their lifespan apparently, which we saw in Saturn, but like Saturn was being executed, so that's a little hairy. Was Imu actively killing him, or was that just the effect of removing the contract? Can't, I guess, fully say. But if we were to say that Imu did the Dami Reversy on all of them, then we can see that the Gorosei seem to have a different effect on them. Do they have like a giant humanoid form, or are they different, and that's why did they like accept whatever was happening, or they have a different like level of acceptance of Imu's power? Is there something that makes them more efficient as vessels, that gives them that like crazy monster yokai type of form over the giants? Not too sure, but that's why I'm like, okay, well, Gunko's not a saint. She doesn't have that title. So maybe this is Oda's way of showing like this is a slight difference of a celestial dragon who is a saint and isn't a saint. One way I guess we'd know is if Imu like took over like Smers or something, we see the effects on him, or another Holy Knight, or a Gorosei. But at the moment, I'm looking at this like this is not what Imu looks like. At least like maybe it's an in-between type of thing. Like Imu just like likes this. And another thing that puts me a little bit on the fence is because Imu having bat wings was something like a long time ago. I made a video, like a short. It was a short. There was a video too, where I was pointing out that someone in the world government has to have like a super, like super crazy bat power because the way that the Gorosei pass out the warlord acceptance letter is through bats, not news coups, not through Morgans. Like, and that's crazy because they do sensitive information through Morgans. And like bats are just so specific, and Oda emphasized those bats in the 2 chapters. And so I was like, okay, so it would have to be someone high up in the Holy Land, and we didn't know about Holy Knights at the time. And I was like it has to be someone close to Imu. It wouldn't make sense to give this out to someone who's not in the Gorosei. So at that point, it was either the Gorosei or Imu. And if you had to, if you put a gun to my head and say pick who's the most bat-like person, I was like Imu. Imu makes a lot of sense because the other ones didn't really. I mean, at the time of that video, I feel like half the fandom was like, oh, they're not even fighters. They can't even they don't have powers. They're just figureheads. So it is interesting that Oda did just give the Batwings here, despite me now saying like, I don't know if the Batwings are like, at least right now, are like core to Imu. And then there's another thing with Stussy, but that's a whole separate conversation. So yeah, I don't know if this is Imu. I'm leaning towards no. Like it is Imu, sorry, but like the visuals, it would be crazy if Oda had silhouetted blue balled us this entire time to then just give us this like depiction, and then we just like fill in the blanks, and then it's like pretty simple from there, you know?
Yeah, I don't think this is Imu. For my answer, I'd say that this is one of many forms that Imu has. Just like how he was able to turn all the giants into corals, which is what I think Imu is right here. I think Imu can have contracts with all the devils. So that's why they look similar. So, like, for example, I guess a good way to put this is that...
But Sai, what's a coral?
So I'll get to that later. But
okay.
Essentially, I'm still trying to go in chronological order for the most part. So pretty much, imagine Imu as... I think you brought up this example. But like it's like Pokemon, right? Everybody right now is an Eevee. And Imu can dish out certain gemstones to transform you. Oh, maybe you're Umbreon. Maybe you're Sylphie. Maybe you're I don't know, Electabuzz? No, Jolteon.
Electabuzz is crazy.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like Aquaphor, I think is one of them. Like there's a bunch there's a bunch of Eevee transformations out there, and Imu can give you one of them. Imu can give you any transformation. They just have to pick which one. But for Imu themselves, imagine them like an Eevee that can pick any transformation at any time. That is how I see Imu. This is just one of many forms. Maybe they're just using it here in Elbaf because they enjoy this form. Maybe it just fits Gunko's body better. Or maybe this is all this body can take. But I do not think this is Imu's final form. It's just a glimpse.
Yeah.
It is just a glimpse. And I do think it's a coral form as well, or a curl form, however you pronounce it. which is eventually what he turns Dory, Brogy, and the Giants into as well. So they're all just curls. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of it. And you talked about bats and how there's going to be like a bat in the world government. I agree with that. I don't think it's going to be Imu though. I'm still of the mindset that it's going to be somebody related to Mihawk. I'm not saying like a blood relative, but just somebody whose story relates to Mihawk. Because Mihawk has that whole vampire thing going on, and then we talked about the Holy Knights maybe having forms too. And the whole thing too is that if Imu's able to give contracts to the Giants, then yeah, he probably gave contracts to the Gorosei and the Holy Knights. And the Holy Knights regenerate. We don't see if they have like demonic forms yet, but if they did, we shouldn't be surprised. And maybe one of them ends up being a vampire, which I wonder what they're going to call it. Because I don't think they're going to go with the vampire. I think it might be like a Dampure, which is like another form of a vampire as well. But yeah, I'm expecting a lot out of Imu, and I think they're going to have like an entire bucket of monsters that they can turn into and turn other people into.
Yeah, I think like it's weird at the moment, but Imu says a lot of lines. Or actually, we can wait till we get to the power stuff, because Imu starts saying things that I feel like, I mean, Imu's dialogue is obviously super, super important throughout the entire chapter, but yeah, later on, there's some like lines that I want to like touch on once we get past some of these powers that Imu showed. But yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying too with the bad thing. Oh.
Yeah.
There's for the bat person who's at Marijois. Honestly, it's probably that attendant, that elusive attendant that we saw like the first time we saw Imu. The reason why I say that is because Buena Vista. Wasn't it Buena Vista who had that like cracked bat dude who like phased through? Wasn't that in that movie? That like he like implemented everything. That I'm pretty sure was a bat guy. Or was it Gold Tesoro? I think it was Gold Tesoro. It was
Gold Tesoro.
Yeah. Because I remember he was in the filler arc, the Silver Mines. That's where the bat guy showed up.
Funny enough, I just watched Dragon Ball Daima, and he looks just like Goma. I don't know if you'll get that reference, but in Dragon Ball Daima, the main villain is a guy named Goma, and he looks just like Gil Tesoro's henchman. Gil Tesoro crew. Yeah, look up Goma. Gomah. Gil Tesoro. How do I look up his...
Oh, yeah. What is this?
Damn it, he doesn't have like a crew name.
Like, we're just not Japanese enough.
Oh, there it is. Tanaka. Yeah, Tanaka and Goma, they kind of look alike. Like, if you told me Tanaka was like Goma's little brother, I'd kind of believe you.
Let me see Tanaka. Tanaka looks like the Temu version, right?
Yeah, Tanaka's like the Temu version.
Yo, straight up the Temu version, bro. This shit's crazy.
They got the same head. Wait a minute. The same head, the same build, and then one of them... So Goma's red, and then Tanaka's green. So they really could just be brothers? Wait. Yeah.
Bro, I implore all of you to Google this. This is hilarious. Literally, Tanaka from One Piece is the Temu version of this Goma character from Daima. What in the... This is hilarious.
Yeah, but for people who watch Daima and are big fans of Dragon Ball, we don't like Goma, though. Goma's kind of ass.
I mean, Tanaka was... Actually, no, Tanaka was kind of sick.
No, people thought Tanaka was ass too, bro. Do you remember how he fought Usopp and the gang?
I don't remember him in the movie, which is why I'm sticking to like the other, because he was in he had two movies. That's how cracked he was. He was also in the Heart of Gold. Thing.
Yeah. Well, Heart of Gold's like a TV special movie, but yeah. But he wasn't like a major character. He simply came at the very end and said, you failed, Mad Chains. And that was it. What was the guy's name? Like, Mad Chains? Was that it?
Something like that. It was
One Piece Mad Chain. Mad Treasure.
Mad Treasure.
And he had the Chain no Mi. Yeah, he had the Chain no Mi. Kind of a good power, I'm not going to lie, but so ass, man. What a bad pirate.
Who is the direct? Who named this guy? Shun Oguri. No, that's who wrote this movie, bro. This is or Heart of Gold. Who is the person?
And then I think
Did
there's also
Oda
another
name
character
him?
named Silver Brian, right?
There's something like that.
No, it's the guy with the smelt fruit. The Gutsu no Mi. And that was eaten by damn, what was it? Bill. Sorry, Bill. Not Brian, Bill. Yeah, Bill was the leader of the Silver Pirate Alliance, and that was the OVA right before Heart of Gold, and then Heart of Gold eventually led to Film Gold. So they hype the F out of Guilt of Sorrow, man.
Yeah. Because I was anime only during all of this, and I just remember Tanaka had like he felt like such a threat, like an ominous threat.
Did he?
Like leading up to the thing to Film Gold, and then in Film Gold he was pointless. Like because he
I just love that. Like in your head, Tanaka was like one of the main threats. Like, oh my god, this guy.
Yeah,
everybody watch out for Tanaka. Zoro.
Dude, he had the nuke no Mi. I know it's nuke, but it's straight up nuke.
Okay,
no
I was gonna
Mi.
say like he does not have a nuke no Mi. He's the guy that played Whack-A-Mole, and he was able to like hop into the ground and like he's like that guy from MHA Mirio.
Yeah,
he's Mirio but worse. Back to the chapter though. Imu immediately calls out Killenham, and he says, "Hey, is this all your dream demons amount to, Killenham?" Killenham says, "Not at all, my lord. There's still many nightmare fissures left open, and we see holes in the ground, and we see nightmares walking out of them." Did Killenham like actively dig holes? Or is this just like the power that just like ripped holes into the earth without Killenham even moving it like a finger?
I don't question. If Killingham's involved, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Killingham.
This is so odd, right?
Killingham is like the character that could have been the king. Like, could have been the main character, could have been the main villain. Like, Killingham has it all, bro. He's the favorite child right now.
I will say this, if there was like a lead up to One Piece, the last saga, Killingham could have been like the OVA villain, right?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, like before you meet the Holy Knights, Killingham is there and you fight him and it's like, whoa, like he's just spawning fodder. Like he's the perfect villain because of the fodder mechanic.
Imagine, is Film Red like Film Red is like if you took out some of the elements, like the dream, like the hordes of monsters that they get through to fight, the ancient aspect. Like Killingham doesn't have that part, but when he is celestial dragon stuff, he is a mythical Zoan. I feel like the supernatural part of Top Musica is interesting for a lot of reasons, but in some alternate worlds, I feel like Killingham could have just been the villain. Like he could have just taken that role and been the dream villain person that creates that like lead up to the last saga, like you're saying. And like Film Red kind of did that, but with like Uta and a mythical monster that we don't really like have a basis for in the story yet. But obviously, if the director of that movie knows the ending of One Piece, it kind of like, oh shit, there's a Top Musica coming.
Killingham gives off Toby vibes, huh?
Yeah, he does. I do think that he's a type of dude to have that nasally voice, and then he just code switches later on.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey guys, I like spawning dream monsters," and then out of nowhere he's like, "But that was just my side hustle."
Is that sounded like from experience?
Oh no, I follow a lot of like anime edit accounts, and that's like one of their main things. They're like, "Oh, check out this voice change from check it out from Naruto." It's so cool.
With Killingham, the what's it called? It's very possible that voice change, like he's in his hybrid form. Imagine he just goes like full dragon and then he just gets a hella deep voice, or maybe he has a high voice normally, and then with Imu, he like turns on the Riz, you know? So like this part's like, "Not at all, my lord," you know, like straight just with Imu.
Yeah. Oh, also, since we're talking about Film Red, before I forget, Sandman is making the rounds again with an older post. but apparently during Film Red, while it was screening in Japan, there is a special voice commentary by Oda, which can only be heard in theaters in Japan, where he mentioned that Tot Musica, or a being like Tot Musica, actually exists in One Piece, but he has not drawn it yet.
He didn't need to say that, but that just my interpretation. Yeah, because the director.
It's like what you said, right? The guy who wrote Film Red knows the ending and all the major beats of One Piece and like all the plot points that we have not seen yet. So Oda saying that, I mean, that's a shoe-in, right? Like, that's one of his editors. I mean, Oda also worked on the movie. So if you're telling me that Tot Musica, or, you know, a being like Tot Musica exists and it's music related, then, yeah, I think that's pretty substantial. And when you think about it, too, you know, go back to, like, Douglas Bullet. Douglas Bullet was just a Timu version of Kaido. Guilt of Sorrow, Timu version of Doflamingo. So, what do we have here? Tot Musica. We don't have that in the series yet. So, there's a genuine possibility that we're going to see a Hot Musica. And then we're going to look at Tot Musica and say, wow, that's the Timu version of Hot Musica.
You know where you should put that idea?
Where?
In Uranus.
So, give me 1 second, Part. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go throw my brisket in the oven.
Wait, that was good.
It's got to be in there for like 2 hours, and I think this is the perfect time to do it.
Wait, that was a good one, though. Come on.
All right, right back, give me like 1 minute. We talked about how we're going to get Impel Down through all the Gorosei, the Holy Knights, and Imu. And last chapter, we had, obviously, Smers using Crimson Hell, which is reminiscent to level 1 of Impel Down. And I guess I just never connected the dots, but Killenham is technically level 2, right? Because level 2 is Beast Hell with all the monsters.
I guess you could say that.
And then we even had a basilisk, and we're literally looking at a basilisk this chapter.
Yeah, I like, a lot of the context isn't there, but in essence, yeah, like the beast form, like beast monster attacking thing. That thing is kind of that thing. The thing that you said is a basilisk looks more like the chicken from Family Guy than it does like the basilisk from Impel Down, I think, because I think they were saying like it's part lizard or something like that. Like the neck was different. I think the neck was like that one Sea King that we saw at the very beginning of the story is like an ostrich neck or something like that. I might be forgetting though, but
I'm looking at it right now.
Was it for the neck? What was the neck like?
There is no neck. It's just fur.
Oh, damn.
It looks just like that, actually. It's honestly, it's 1-to-1.
If it's 1-to-1, then
yeah, it looks pretty 1-to-1. If you type in Basilisk One Piece and you get like the Impel Down one, it's pretty similar to that last panel with Killingham and Imu.
So Smers is level 1. Killingham is level 2.
I would say Gunko-Imu would be... Somebody brought this to my attention. I think it's pretty solid, but they said Imu is kind of like level 3, because that's where we saw the Blue Gory and Saldeath. Technically, we saw the Blue Gory in level 2, but Saldeath we met in level 3. And Saldeath was the impish-looking guy, kind of like Tanaka, funny enough, who had the pitchfork and tail. Let me look at it. Let me make sure I'm not like misremembering it. So Saldeath had the 2 horns, the pitchfork, and the bat wings, funny enough.
Yeah, he had it all.
And he was commanding an army of Blue Gory. Kind of like how Imu is commanding an army of giants here.
Dang, that's
even
interesting.
Even the size
because
difference is similar too. Like how small Saldeath is in comparison to his army. And then Imu is like obviously human-sized, and then the giants are like massive.
Yeah.
It kind of fits.
It's interesting because like I would almost think that the way Imu shows up, they give off the level 4 vibes. Which level 4 was interesting because that's the level that the people just gave up. Like they were just so cold. What?
I didn't realize we met Saladeath post time skip and they got tall.
No. What?
Yeah, Saladeath got big. No, what?
When did we see him? Oh, it was in
It was the cover page story with Impel Down. Yeah, Saladeath is huge. Well, not like huge, but he's like big. Got taller. Like possibly 10 times the size of pre-time skip.
Yeah, the picture is misleading because you don't see his lower half. So I guess people just cared so little that they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no,
they
there's
might
also
not
like
even
an official
recognize.
figure. And
Yeah.
he looks good, man. Hell yeah, Saladeath.
He's doing well for himself. He's going
my guy.
He's going the Hannibal build, that's for sure. Taking after Shiryu or Magellan might have been the play, but Hannibal's a pretty solid size favorite character.
One of my favorites, man. Shout out to
Not
Hannibal.
important characters. Oh no, he's not, bro.
What's up?
He's 7'1".
Really?
Yo, he's taller than Luffy.
He's only
Zoro,
18
bro.
years old too.
This guy should put him in the NBA. He's a lock.
Damn.
What the hell?
Dang, the wiki also puts that smoke on him. They call him one of the major antagonists of Impel Down. Oh, we also have a drawing of him as a kid. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. You know what?
The Saladeath wiki page.
Imu is being depicted by Saladeath. Saladeath was this scrawny, hopeless kid, to be honest. But look, like if they let the size get to them, they would never become prison.
Huh.
They were a chief guard by the age of 16.
You know what's funny too? Look at this. So Saladeath, I mean, I remember this, but I never put it together. Saladeath, his ability was to play his pitchfork like the Pied Piper, like a flute.
Oh,
and
my God.
He led the Blue Gories with that, kind of like how Gunko was. Initially, we called Gunko the Pied Piper because she was leading the kids to the ship. Wait a minute, huh?
That would mean Gunko is technically level 3.
Yeah. Gunko. Well, I think Gunko Imu combination is level. I mean, they're not gonna be like 1-to-1, but I think like they're inspired, or Oda's inspired by Impel Down almost.
The reason why I say that because then I think that would, if Gunko's level 3, then I think level 4 would be Imu, because again, though, there was no fight on level 4. Level 4, there was it was just despair, and Luffy was the only one. Well, Bon Clay. But like it was out of disparity, and they were facing actually the wolves. And we do have that in the underworld on Elbaf, like the frozen wasteland and the wolves. That's the main opponent on level 4, but they didn't really fight there. Luffy just like he was showing the beginnings of Conqueror's Haki there, and he scared off the wolves. But the despair, like when Luffy was banging his head on the thing, all the people are like, bro, you knew? No one tries.
You know what's funny too? People have back on Egghead, they called the Gorosei just like they said they were similar to the jailer beasts of Impel Down.
Yeah.
And I think that fits even more now. But also, how about this? You know, like the bat wings and the pitchfork and the tail we see? What if there's a chance that this isn't even Imu's transformation? What if this is just Gunko's? Like Gunko is this transformation, and this is it has nothing to do with Imu.
Yeah,
like
that's
zero.
a possibility. I lean towards that more than I do towards this is Imu's like visual appearance of anything. Like anything meaningful to us towards the end story, right? For me, it's like an effect of the demonification, which essentially still is the same thing. It's just slightly twisted. And what you're saying is this is Gunko's transformation, which gets to something that Imu says later on. And then last would be that this is just how Imu looks. It is possible that that's the case, but like, there's like some things that stand out also, like Impel Down, their uniform is this black wings, trident is optional, but like you have the black wings and the horns, and we know that like it's an attire to the extent that like people would wear wings. Like they don't have wings, they put on wings to like meet the criteria, but it's not like Shiryu didn't have them. Like I think we got a flashback of when he didn't have wings or a horn. He just wore this jacket, which that's what most normal people would do. But you get that, and you get like the insignia too that they got going on with Impel Down. And you get some interesting things for where Imu can fit in here.
And with Imu again, I do think Imu could also have the same transformation as Gunko, right? Like I said earlier, I think my analogy still stands that Imu is like an ultimate Eevee that could just transform into any version. But I do think specifically though, Gunko is the Curl. She is that type of demon. And because like how I said that maybe Killenham and Smers and Shamrock all have their own like transformations, I think this is Gunko's version. This is Gunko's demon contract.
So see, you know what's actually funny about that? Damn, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but like, there was something I didn't mention to you on stream, but I did talk about it before you came on to the stream, which was that, I was just like, what? It's similar to what you're saying, right? I kind of pitched it. I'm trying to remember how I said it because I think I said it well on stream. Was that like essentially all roads lead to Imu on this side of the scale of the spectrum? So like they're on like the devilish side, right? And all paths lead to an Imu, meaning Imu like embodies like the pinnacle of whatever the end stage is, right? But like the path can be different, and the reason why I was saying that was I was like, okay, what if? And this is a crazy one. I was like, what if, like the powers we see, like yes, Imu's using them, but they're not Imu's powers. They're Gunko's powers. They're just Gunko's powers used to the max. Like maybe Gunko can't do Dami Reversy, but it's possible. And the reason why I was saying that was because of the line where Dory and Brogy are saying the same thing that Luffy said when he turned Gear 5, but Imu says becoming a demon is truly the pinnacle of existence. So if we think that Gear 5 can do anything, then demon stuff can do anything on this side. And then the question mark is going to end up being, what can Luffy do that they can't do, and what can Imu do that Luffy can't do? And then, maybe there's a harmony that's struck, or maybe there's like something that overpowers the other. But the point that I was saying is like, there's a world, because we see the magic circles and stuff, but like the contract, technically, like Gunko was making the kids walk across the thing, and it was like they had no choice. They're following like a contract. They didn't have any choice in it. Not like the Giants don't have a choice in here either. Like, what's the stop? If Gunko were to use the max power, could she not do a contract like this? I don't see why not, especially if it's like Imu level utilization of Gunko's thing. So, and I was like, when that would make sense if Gunko's truly the vessel, it would be that she's using the powers. And the point being is that like Dami Reversy may be Imu's thing, but like maybe it would be able to do it through Killenham, through Smers, through all the other iterations, which gets to the point where it's like, Imu being this like amalgamation of everything beneath them. So anything that's possible that is beneath her, she can do as well. That's kind of like the same logic, just in reverse. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily like, you can't like fully vet that in this chapter, but it goes to the same kind of logic of the Eevee thing, in my opinion, which is that like appearance wise, I could see Imu being in any box. Like I kind of look at it the same way I see Luffy. Anything that anyone else can do, Luffy can do at this point, right? The question is, does he want to? Does it fit his style, right? And as far as I could see, as long as it's demonic, I think the Emu's on board. It might be hilarious if Luffy becomes demonic and then Emu's like cringes and is like, ew. this is gross. You know, you should not be a demon or something like that. Like I could see something like that happening. But other than that, anything that Gunko can do, I think that Imu can manifest that and use it to a potential that maybe even Gunko and the rest can't do yet, possibly.
And to back up your thought, I don't exactly fully agree with it yet, but you know, a way to make that work too is that with the Dami Reversy and the Devil's Contract, if we're saying that Gunko is the Curl transformation, then maybe she can use Devil's Contract herself, but she can only turn people into other Curls, and she's like the leader Curl. Like for example, like let's say Saturn. If Saturn were for some reason trying to subjugate an island, he would be like, "Oh, here's Devil's Contract, Gyuki," and then everybody turns into mini Gyukis, and Saturn's the leader of them. Maybe that's what it's like.
Yeah. I think like to the point, like I don't even agree with it yet. We have so little to like make a full thought around it, but there is a lot of
wiggle room.
Wiggle room is a good thing. Something I was just reminded of because I started thinking about each like depiction of power that we've seen, like Venus. I still love his entrance where he freezes the circuitry on all that, on all the Kumas, the electric circuits, to preserve it. And I'm like, damn, like what if Imu could do that but like crazier? And I was like what, where does the buck stop? And I was like, also like Saturn was out there like insta killing people with just a look. And I was thinking like, wow, I was surprised that Imu didn't do that. That's something Imu probably can do like in like their form, but maybe that could be something that like, hey, could it make sense that Imu uses that power in Gunko's body, but maybe Imu can't because Gunko can't. So like because Gunko
but
doesn't
also
have that
Imu wouldn't
power,
want to because Imu's just trying to subjugate right now.
That's true. Yeah, unless it's with the Straw Hats.
Yeah, maybe with the Straw Hats they try. But, I mean, the Straw Hats are another thing, too, which we'll get to here. Let's just progress the chapter so we can talk about the whole thing. But next thing we see is Smers. Just to, like, speed through this, we see Smers. He's getting back up. He's not dead. He is immortal. And he's injured, though, right? Even though he is putting himself back together, he still says that whatever Scopper did was really painful, which is pretty interesting, right? So Scopper really did just stop him temporarily. Next thing we see is that Imu orders Smers to actually lead the children to the ship. You know, he's taking over Gunko's old job, and I kind of wonder what Imu's going to do now. Like, now that Gunko-Imu is no longer shepherding the kids, and that's Smers' role, where will Imu go? Do you think Imu is going to stay up here in the Sun Realm? Do you think he's going to lead the charge against Yarul? Or do you think he's going to go down to visit Luffy? Because I think that'd be pretty awesome. You know, like, we're already talking about how great Imu is looking so far, but if Imu goes down to the underworld, and visits Luffy and the gang, that'd be pretty crazy, right? Pretty hype moment.
Yeah. I think in this chapter there was the fun, almost breaking fourth wall mention of where's Luffy and the gang, and like
I love that. Where is he?
Yeah, and also like, am I forgetting? But like, Brooke said like, oh, they're in the underworld. How did Brooke know? Again,
I believe that Nami told them, right?
Nami told them that they went down, but Brooke, wasn't it Brooke who said it, or is it Nami? Okay, if it was Nami, that makes sense, right? I think I remember seeing Brooke, and I was like, wait, how did Brooke know this?
Yeah, Nami told them during the party, right?
They're with Hiredin and his... Oh, no, it wasn't that. How do they know Hiredin was there? Because Hiredin just dropped in. Hiredin didn't tell anybody, did they? Or was Hiredin with Nami? That's what I was forgetting a little bit. Was Hiredin with like Brooke and Nami, and then they told him that they went to Underworld, and then Hiredin went? Was that how it went?
We had a little skip, to be fair.
Yeah, I was just like, damn, where did Hiredin go?
We didn't see every event that took place. We didn't see every conversation, so...
Yeah.
If you're telling me that happened, then that's no big deal.
Yeah. So because they mentioned, like, specifically, where are they? And then they said where they were. in the midst of like Gunko or Imu, whatever amalgamation this is. I want a name, but as we talked on the stream, this is probably not really a great name for this, but not like Vegito or Gogeta. Nothing standing out just yet. But I feel like it could make a lot of sense for Imu to display full level of domination, especially since Killenham kind of told Imu that he was going easy mode. Like, he's like, oh, I haven't revived the dead ones yet. They could be revived, by the way. And no effort on my part. I just was waiting. And then, yeah, so that added levels to it, added the fissures, all that stuff. So, and then when we later on see a depiction of what Imu did to the giants, we kind of can grasp that Imu can kind of let this be on autopilot, and there's not really much resistance anymore. Because they took the strongest, and the only other threat is falling down. And so the other threats are already down there. By Imu's omnipresence that's been depicted so far, I think it makes sense that Imu goes and confronts and takes like jumps ahead. Kind of like that would be like what Doflamingo did, right? To Luffy's crew, and then Sanji clashed with Dofi, but like had Sanji not been there, I mean, even with Sanji there, Doflamingo was like about to just kill everybody. So like he brought out that laser beam string, string overheat, and he lasered down a mountain. It was crazy. I feel like Imu could do something similar. I think one thing that I'm expecting though, but I'm not too sure, because like we see Smers regenerating his arm, which means like, yeah, what Gabon did was painful, but in Imu's presence, it's just painful. It's not a permanent threat. So I wonder if what Scopper did to Smers, does that work on Imu? Probably not, right? Like if Imu can pass it, like I don't think Imu acknowledged Smers having like deathly wounds. Smers just healed, and we to the point that we don't even know if it's because Imu's there. But I'm gonna go on a limb that say like without Imu there, it probably wouldn't be possible, since Smers himself was like, it's not regenerating. So that's kind of why I'm thinking that it was Imu. And then that puts a wrench into like, hey, Scopper can hurt the Gorosei or the Holy Knights, which means he could probably hurt the Gorosei, but the buck stops at Imu probably. And that's where it's like, I feel like the trope would be Imu not necessarily overextend themselves, but possibly reveals like, maybe not openly and maybe not explicitly, but a way like demonstrates and gives enough of a showing to the Straw Hats that like there's a weakness somewhere. Like there's an inkling to something that they can figure out and clue in later on maybe. And that's why I think like, yeah, I think Imu confronting Luffy head on, maybe giving it on Luffy's terms, because that's how arrogant and like a godly that Imu is. It's like, yeah, you're just a baby Joy Boy. I could flex a little bit, and through that arrogance and through that flex, we get, you know, some kind of light that they may not look like light now, but later on we're gonna remember that moment, be like, oh shit, this makes sense. This is where Imu's weakness is, something like that. So, Underworld, Imu, Luffy, that's what I see.
So we see that Robin is trying to get out of the thorns, the vines that Smers put on her, but to no avail. Her hands cannot really just rip them apart. So we definitely need some sort of swordsman here, maybe some kind of chainsaw. And maybe that is where Frankie steps in, because Frankie is the closest person to the Straw Hats right now. You know, Frankie's the only person in the Sun Realm as well that is not currently entangled. So maybe Frankie shows up, V-sabers them out of there, and then that's how they get back into play. But it's just weird, like thinking about Frankie freeing the Straw Hats. Like I can't really envision it. But he's really the only candidate, you know, outside of Zoro, who is, like we said, is in the underworld. What are you gonna say?
No, I forgot completely, and then I remembered, and then I realized there's a whole different thing. Chopper's caught Scopper, right? And he was falling too. Was that how it went?
Chopper did not catch Scopper yet.
Right.
He
So that's
simply
what I was
jumped
thinking.
off.
I was like he was going after him. Because when you said the Frankie was the closest, I was like, wait, Chopper.
Yeah,
Chopper's
Chopper's not here
U-turn, bro.
anymore.
Chopper should just bring his ass back here. Like his crew is Scopper, but he wants that valuable information, right? That's what he's chasing.
Yeah.
So that is important. That, to be fair, that is important. I hope he gets it. Not
he
to
will.
bring up our we hope that it's meaningful information and it's not just, oh, I just use advanced conquers Haki. The thing that everybody can use, right, guys?
Yeah, that'd be a little bit silly. Yeah, so hopefully, somebody frees a Robin, because she's turning around, she's looking at that library, and it is freaking burning, man. Still no signs of the owl, funny enough. Not even a hoot hoot. So we go down a little bit more, and we see that Brogy and the Giants have finally arrived to Imu. Imu drops the full epithet, saying, "Hey, Blue Ogre Dory, Red Ogre Brogy, I command thee to claim dominion of this island." Also, by the way, I love Smers and Imu's dialogue, because Imu's like, he's essentially like, man, like, there's no king here. Isn't this crazy? And then Smers is like, yeah, you're right. Like, this is nuts. What do we do? Like, they're just kind of hyping Imu up. I love that. Or they're like agreeing with him to a fault almost. So Imu then declares Brogy and Dory as the new kings of Elbaf. Which is pretty nuts, right? Just out of nowhere. Hey, two pirates that have, like, what? A combined bounty of 1.8 billion? Is it combined or separate? I think it's separate, right? I think it's separate.
No, I think it's combined.
I remember somebody gave me flack for that a while back. But yeah, either way, it's 1.8. Whether it's combined or separate, doesn't matter. They're still those guys.
Numbers
and
there.
Imu declares them as the new kings. And they order them to kill Yarul and then make that proclamation. Pretty insane. Brogy kind of ignores a lot of it, saying, hey, like, what is going on here? Like, how many of you guys are there? Are you the God Knights we've been hearing about? Like, Brogy's really going in, and I love that. I think it's because we've only really seen happy-go-lucky Brogy for the most part. Even on Egghead, right? He was kind of chilling. He was kind of laughing, hanging out with Luffy. So seeing Brogy serious here, it feels good. I think this is kind of what I want from the Giants. I put some respect on Brogy's name this chapter, I will admit. But Imu, of course, does not really regard Brogy's comments at all, and instead they just whip out a magical book out of thin air. We see... No, I was about to say, like, maybe the Abyss Circle spawns it, but no, like, Imu just twirls their hand, and boom, there's the book, and out of that book comes a dagger and a shotgun. Imu stabs Brogy's hand, Brogy releases Imu, and that is when Imu shoots off Brogy's wrist with the shotgun. Pretty insane stuff. And then, of course, we get the whole dialogue here about the Domi Reversy. We get the transformation. And Imu says, hey, thou shalt cast aside thy lifespan for a body unyielding to death, and under Mu's dominion you will be granted unprecedented strength. No longer will you be bound by common sense nor reason. And becoming a demon is truly the pinnacle of existence. Some pretty fire dialogue, if I might add. And that is when we see Brogy completely flip into the black version of himself, which is, as a lot of people have pointed out, is the game Reversy, which is where you flip black pieces to white and white pieces to black, and whoever has the most pieces by the end of the game wins. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I do think that also opens the door for a reversal as well, where we flip Brogy back to normal, or we flip characters who are normal into white, which is where Luffy would step in, right? I think you're a big fan of Naruto. You know about the Kurama cloak more than anybody else here. I believe you won like the Naruto trivia contest like 5 years running now. So you know all about how Naruto, in the popular series Naruto Shippuden, is able to give people a piece of his Nine Tails power, and they get boosted because of it. So maybe Luffy does the same thing, where Luffy gives people his Sun God Nika Fire, and boom, they're a little bit stronger, maybe they're a little bit bigger. And funny enough, the Kurama Cloak also had that fire-like effect in your favorite show, Naruto. So, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that is a one-to-one. And we also know that Naruto, Kishimoto, and Oda from One Piece, they're the big good friends. They even had a cameo in each other's anime dash manga covers. So
One Piece even delayed itself a little bit to let Naruto go first. Well, maybe
yeah.
Oda didn't want the same powers to overlap.
Yeah, while the fan bases may argue day in, day out about which one is better, just know that Kishimoto and Oda are actually pretty chill on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like each other.
Know that when Skypiea came out, Kishimoto was jealous because he wanted to do an arc in clouds and with technologically advanced like weaponry. That was something Kishimoto said, and he's like, "Damn, I can't do it now." Oda did Skypiea, so Skypiea did a lot of influence. Never skip Skypiea. That's the saying. That's where it starts from. Kishimoto didn't skip it. Kishimoto grew from it, and then he created Boruto. Boruto's probably just like what Oda wanted to do, or what Kishimoto wanted to do with that like cloud tech arc that he wanted to get by. But yeah, this there's a lot with like the Reversy, like that in of itself, the chapter title, it's like Oda is cooking. There's some crazy connections that contextually make a lot of sense, like the reversal thing. I think one of my favorite things that came from the stream was because I didn't until the stream like panned out, and then we were having conversation in the chat, like I think like the Othello connection there, and I know about the Shakespeare stuff because like English class, and that one is like a specific like memorable one, and I remember like that one had like a thematic around how like jealousy can turn humans into monsters, like the most unrecognizable monsters, and it felt very on the nose here. And the reason why Othello relates is because that's the common name for Reversy, but it was marketed as Othello. Originally was made as Reversy, but it was popularized and marketed by a Japanese man in 1971 in Japan, and he named it Othello. And so that's interesting in and of itself. But a strategy in the game is to kind of at least, I don't know if this is like a real strategy because there's like international tournaments, so I'm not like an international player by any means, but me and my brother, we played random board games a lot. So that one was, I'm pretty sure we played either when we were like traveling, like, so I remember like with airplanes, like I think we played an airplane game. But point is that in the game you could like try to every turn maximum get as many things as you want, and that ends up being like a tit for tat kind of thing. Whoever goes first or second, I think, ends up like winning because like you let the other person develop more or something like that. But there's another way I at least played, was like you like stall out, you just work on positioning, and then you let the other person develop more, and then you take over everything they develop because you're just positioned better. And so someone said, like after I said that, they're like, I think someone was saying, so then the One Piece would be Nika, and or like something, the One Piece is the last piece that like Nika has to coordinate with to then reverse everything that Imu did, and that's why they need to either get rid of Nika or get rid of the One Piece, because without both you couldn't reverse the entire thing back to white. And that's kind of like this is the One Piece, and that's why that matters. And I was like, that fits really well with how the game feels at some points. Like when you have a really epic game, it's like you have like two pieces left and you go reverse, 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 and you just take everything back. Yeah, that again, and that's like you have to use a few like is Oda you gonna use like Reversy tactics, or is he just using the names thing? It seems like this is the Imu, so I'm sure he thought about this plenty, and how it's depicted, to the point that like he had I thought it was interesting. I misremembered it on stream and I was corrected, which was that Sabo used chess move against Imu when he confronted Imu. That's a board game. And I thought that it was Imu who used the chess thing. So I was like, oh wow, Imu's gonna be like board game coded, which is sick. But that is Sabo. So then I was like, okay, so then maybe like when we get to that level, there's gonna be more board game references. I don't know. But then we also got that really cool cover story that I know that a lot of people remember, whereas Robin was playing chess against like the perspective, and he's using the Straw Hats. And we got a lot of interesting things. Like I think Brooke was a bishop, Nami was queen. I think Frankie was a rook, Sanji and Zoro were knights, and then Chopper were all the pawns, which could relate to like Automata and with a Nell and stuff like that. And then Luffy was like, he was just being thrown out. I think he was supposed to be the king,
I think
but
he was supposed
like,
to be the king, but the king is like over here like making all the moves and killing people, I guess. In Robin's version of chess.
Yeah, which would be like Luffy breaking the rules of chess, which if Imu tries to play the Reversy game, like this would be the trope. Luffy's like, rules? What? That's a joke. My rules. I'm the pinnacle, you know?
I hope Imu-Oda, I hope they do go down the board game route. Like imagine they bring in everybody's favorite childhood board games like Sorry, Go Fish.
Mm-hmm.
And Candyland, Connect 4, Baccarat.
Baccarat?
Well, okay, maybe not like board games, but like backgammon. Yeah. But like games in general. I think would be a really cool move set.
Yeah, tic-tac-toe.
I don't know about tic-tac-toe.
It's not a board game. That's a game you played when you're bored.
What about
It's
blackjack?
a different kind of board game. Yeah, Yahtzee,
Jenga, Travelers of Catan.
I feel like there's probably gonna be a lot of Japanese, like, because this Othello's crazy because like I didn't know the lore with Japan, but it literally like Reversy was the game, and then the guy was like, I'm gonna choose Shakespeare and bring it to Japan and modernize it. Or not modernize it, repopularize it and market it.
Shogi.
And it's off. Shogi, yeah.
I'm looking at Japanese board games. Yeah, Shogi. We could have Mahjong. Go is another good one as well.
Mahjong would be
Go
too
is
hard, I feel
Go
like.
is kind of like it's funny enough. It's kind of like Reversy actually.
Yeah, someone said Go, and I was like, wait, is Go like a simpler? I thought Go was simpler version of Shogi. Is that not?
Well, okay, wait. Yes,
or is
sort
it
of.
checkers? I forget.
Go is a very complex game of checkers.
Oh,
It's I
Okay,
would say
so
Go is not easy. I've watched a whole ass Go anime called Hikaru no Go, which is like an old school anime. It's so good.
I think I watched like an episode or two.
Yeah,
There was a ping
Mahjong would
pong
be really
one.
nice though. Mahjong wouldn't be that hard. Maybe okay. How about that with this? There is a Mahjong themed attack among the Holy Knights or attacker. Like there's gonna be one Holy Knight member who's just over here saying Tenpai.
I could see it.
Roll.
I could see it. Dang. Ooh. It's not often you get Sai, not like doing the accent. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love
Really going to the
watching
roots.
Mahjong. I can't play for crap, but
I'm looking
What's
at
Sugoroku?
another one that I was thinking of, but I don't know if this is Japan. I know that it was in Japan, but I don't know if it was like made. No, it's not. It's made by Atari. Atari's American, right? Double check that, right? Yeah,
Is it?
American
Yeah.
game. Yeah. I was gonna say Pong. Like some of these, like is Pac-Man Japanese? Pac-Man doesn't sound Japanese, is it?
Pac-Man is Japanese
like I
for
should-
sure.
Pac-Man. Yep, Puckman. Yeah, like Oda already did Pac-Man technically with Luffy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so it's probably just like all these like games that came out of Japan that are popular worldwide.
Man, we need a Yu-Gi-Oh reference in here.
I mean, for sure, right? Like we're on the nose for that.
And
right?
please, guys, do not say Hawkins. Dude, do not say Hawkins is all Yu-Gi-Oh players are gonna get. Please, no. Anything but Hawkins, man.
Does Hawkins?
He's like he's tarot cards. It's not like Yu-Gi-Oh, but
no, but he would be. Oh yeah, no, he is the guy. He's the rich white-haired guy. The one with the red
no,
coat?
okay, but Kaiba, if you're comparing him to Kaiba's so much more aura.
No, not Kaiba, the older one. He did like the he didn't do tarot cards, but he did like the premonitions, right? I'm pretty sure
in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh villains. Let me see.
A Yu-Gi-Oh villain that does premonitions.
Maximilian Pegasus. He had the thing.
Oh, you said red-haired, and I was like, wait, what?
No, red. He had the red jacket.
Oh, okay, Pegasus.
Yeah. Didn't he have like the premonition thing?
He had the Millennium Eye, and it was that he could see through your cards and see whatever you're seeing.
Yo, that's kind of hot. Yo, he's kind of Hawkins.
No, you can't say Pegasus is Hawkins, bro.
No, Pegasus is it. He had Toon Force.
No. You know what? Funny enough, Imu is like darts out of Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know have you ever finished Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't know what finishing means, but yes, I know who Darts is. I see his picture. I remember.
Yeah,
him.
Darts is the guy who wanted to revive the great Leviathan and end the world.
Yeah.
And then he turned like a bunch of good people evil, which is essentially what.
How did he lose?
It's like what Imu's doing. He lost because the ancient dragons from thousands of years ago came back and gave Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey like additional powers. And
were
then
they fighting over like an abyss?
No, they were fighting in like an ancient temple. I think they're fighting the lost city of Atlantis, if I recall correctly. Now I think about it.
Yeah, I just remember a very lengthy. I feel like
but
I
just
remember
thinking
like
about the divine serpent.
Fall.
It kind of reminds me of the divine serpent in One Piece, right? The karmic serpent.
Yeah. We may get your wetness.
Wait a minute,
dream, bro.
the divine
Yu-Gi-Oh.
serpent is in One Piece. My guy.
Yeah.
Tamias, where are you?
Dude, this
What's funny enough, Tamias is like the
timeline.
1,000-year-old knight that defeats the serpent. So maybe. I mean, the knights are kind of like the D clan. Damn, I love Yu-Gi-Oh. I need to rewatch it again. That's probably my 5th time rewatching it. Love Yu-Gi-Oh.
I like Yu-Gi-Oh too. I like Digimon.
I still play
and
Yu-Gi-Oh too.
But yeah. The like again, going back through a lot of this, it's curious to me, like per our previous conversation, like what part of this is relevant to Gunko and what part of it's relevant to Imu, and like like you were saying like Gunko's the coral, and I was saying that it might be that like Gunko probably can't do Dami Reversy, but Imu can do it through Gunko's capable, but Gunko doesn't like have that potential, which goes on the same track of like, it's not like Gunko though isn't a saint. It's not like she's restricted from not using the abyss. Like she can still teleport people. She can still do a lot of the magic stuff, and that was magic circles. And we're seeing that Dami Reversy is magic circle, though a more complex version of what we've seen prior. But if the gate is just or the gate or bar for doing this is doing the correct magic circle, then maybe it's possible other people can do this to a certain extent, which is interesting. Oh, wait a second, I just remembered something. CP0 was playing Reversy in Onigashima, were they not? I know the board was bigger. Maybe it was Go. I don't know.
I have a picture of them playing, but it's not the top-down view. I know we get the top-down view though.
Yeah. Cypher Pole playing.
They were playing
Go.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. See this. I'm on chapter 1018, and I see them playing with the black. No, this is Go, because this.
It looks like Reversy. It looks like Reversy, but the rules. No, but different.
They did he just put the thing, and then they flipped over the black to white.
You flip over the pieces in Go.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said that Go was like a more complex version of all those that we've talked about.
Dude, it's probably that Emu's final form is Go then, right? Or Emu's dad played Go, right? You said Go's more complex. It's probably that. Imu was
Yeah.
too dumb to play Go, so played Reversy instead.
Or maybe Reversy is just like a cool name that Oda wanted to go with. He was like, oh, I could either do Go or Reversy. Like what sounds better? Domi Go or Domi Reversy? I think Reversy sounds cool.
Gomu? Go or Moo?
Nah.
Dude!
I don't know about that one.
Luffy's gonna pull out the 9 head and play Go, while Imu's stuck playing Reversy. Loser. Crazy.
I mean, Robin's over here playing chess, right? They're all playing different games, man.
Yeah, that's true. They're all just playing different board games, you know. Damn.
And Sanji's cooking them food in the background.
Yeah. Oh man, it would have been sick if this was Reversy. I gotta look at Go. I feel like I knew Go, but then I don't know what it is right now. Wiki. Abstract. Oh, this is way more complicated looking.
Yeah, Go is.
Oh, was this the thing?
Go seems simple, and it is simple. I'd compare Go to chess. It's pretty simple to get into, but if you want to master it and if you want to be good, it's actually pretty competitive. It has a high skill ceiling. It's like League of Legends, right? Like you can play League and have fun and be in bronze or iron, but if you want to be like, you know, plat, or if you want to go to pros, it's like you got to be pretty good. You got to know a lot.
I think I understand why I didn't register what Reversy was at the beginning. Because I think what happened was, I think we had a Go board, but me and my brother just played Reversy. Like we didn't have like an instruction manual. Because I think it was my grandfather's stuff, but he passed away, so he never taught us. Or maybe he taught my brother and he just taught him wrong. Like, because he was a kid. So, like, he taught him, like, a simpler version. And then my brother taught me. I just remember playing this with my brother. And my brother would always win. And then I'd never have fun. And then one time I won. And I was like, wait, how'd I do that? And then I never won again. But we were mad young. So, but I'm remembering this, like, expansive board. Because when I saw the thing said Reversy's 8x8, I was like, wait, that's so small. I feel like I remember it's so big and we played for like hours.
Yeah, Go, I think it's 64 by 64. I think.
Bro.
Yeah.
There's no shot. I'm looking at the way they're really playing. Big. I definitely did not play Go because the way they're playing it on the simulation, absolutely no shot. Yeah. I was playing Reversy on a Go board. I think that's what happened. That makes so much sense.
Like it's like Connect 4, right? Connect 4 is like similar to Reversy, where it's like, oh, like it seems really simple. And then now imagine if there's like Connect 50. It's like, whoa. That's essentially Go. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So now that Brogy has been transformed, he is starting to regenerate his wrist, seemingly. I don't know if it's regenerating or if he just doesn't need it anymore. Probably a mixture of both. But even his weapon is changed. And it's now this blackened axe, dude. It looks so freaking cool. But, you know, of course, because of this, the Mihawk memes are spawning up. It's kind of like how Luffy painted his bat black and Egghead. They're like, oh, you know, Mihawk got his blade from Imu. Imu simply just gave him a black blade. What a fraud. And obviously, I don't think people who are saying that are like trying to slander. I think it's just all good fun and memes, right? Nobody actually believes that, but you gotta admit, I love seeing the slander that comes out because I just think it's funny. Like people slandering Roger, like, oh, Roger learned about the Void Sentry and he just did not want to fight Imu. Like Roger was ducking the Emu battle, and then people are like hyping up Fisher Tiger, like, you know, Fisher Tiger was 1v1ing Emu back in Marija, like, dude, the memes that come out of these chapters from power scaling people, I love them. It's so freaking funny, man. Like if you don't take it seriously, I think it's great. You know, kind of like JD Legend, right? That's what Jay does.
What?
For the most part.
Wait, what does Jay do? Sorry, I missed it.
Jay, like, he power scales, but he has like a lot of fun with it. He doesn't take it like super seriously.
Oh yeah. I mean, he doesn't focus on the people bring him the power scaling, and then he's like,
he just kind of memes on it, which is perfect.
Yeah.
That's where people should be, you know. Just don't take it too seriously. Just laugh a little bit. Like I remember when I didn't realize how many people like came out of the woodworks for this, but we were talking about like me and Bro were talking about Scopper and Rayleigh and who's stronger. And I was like, oh, I feel like Rayleigh is stronger because he's the right hand. You know, if we're doing parallels, it's like, oh, Roger, Luffy, Zoro, Rayleigh, Sanji, Scopper. It just makes sense if that's the order of power. And and I admit, I was like, yeah, like Scopper, he looks better here. You know, Scopper's showing things that Rayleigh didn't even show us. But at the end of the day, like, it's Rayleigh's probably just stronger. And then people are like, you Zoro glazers. You just love slobbering on Zoro's meat. It's like, whoa. First up, we were talking about Rayleigh, you know? And then it was just crazy. And I was like, wait, do you disagree then? You think Scopper's stronger? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is, but, you know, you've seen the thematics in One Piece. It's like King, Queen, Shanks, Mihawk. Like, that's kind of just how it is.
Wait, what did Brago say?
No, it was just the comment section. But like in terms of agreeing, like I think we're on the same page. Just like that's just the thematics of a crew, right?
Yeah. To go back to something that I started reading the wiki for Go. How much of Go do you know?
Only the basics. I could play against a toddler and maybe win. Like even though I've watched that anime twice, I cannot properly play it.
Do you know the terminology?
No, it's been like at least 10 years.
Bro, this is a rare moment. We stay away from just like looking at like other things. This isn't the 50-50.
Let me look it up.
But I want to read this like few lines. Okay, so this is like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but this is about Go. For everyone listening, go look at
for these. Yeah. What are these strategies?
Okay, listen to this, guys.
What the hell?
Go is an adversarial game between two players with the objective of capturing territory. That is, occupying and surrounding a larger total empty area of the board with one stones than the opponent. As the game progresses, the players place stones on the board, creating stone formations and enclosing spaces. Once placed, stones are never moved on the board, but when captured, are removed from the board. Stones are linked together into a formation by being adjacent along the black lines, not on diagonals, of which there are none. So there's no diagonal, like it's a grid. Contests between opposing formations are often extremely complex and may result in the expansion, reduction, or wholesale capture and loss of formations and their enclosed empty spaces. Now get this, guys. The empty spaces in Go are called eyes. Okay? Keep that in mind. Another essential component of the game is to control the sente. That is, controlling the offense so that one's opponent is forced into defensive moves. This usually changes several times during play. Now, this is where it starts getting crazy. Initially, the board is bare, and players alternate turns to place one stone per turn. As the game proceeds, players try to link their stones together into living formations, meaning that they are permanently safe from capture, as well as threaten to capture their opponent's stones and formations. Stones have both offensive and defensive characteristics depending on the situation. An essential concept is that a formation of stones must have or be capable of making at least two enclosed open points known as eyes to preserve itself from being captured. Or formation having at least two eyes cannot be captured even after it is surrounded by the opponent on the outside, because each eye constitutes a liberty that must be fulfilled or must be filled by the opponent as the final step in capture. A formation having two or more eyes is said to be unconditionally alive, so it can evade capture indefinitely, and a group that cannot form two eyes is said to be dead and can be captured. What the hell is this game, bro? You're making living creatures out of stones.
Look at this.
Eyes?
These are the basic strategy aspects of Go, and these are the names of them: connection, cut, stay alive, mutual life, death, invasion, reduction, sente that you talked about, and sacrifice. And those are popular terms. So yeah, but I watch it in Japanese, so I never got any of these. But yeah, it's so funny, man. And like you said, it could work for Imu, right? And also like the whole thought of like, oh, like at some point, like certain pieces cannot be captured. I think that goes to something we'll talk about here in a little bit, which I might as well talk about it. But who cannot get turned by Dami Reversy, right? Because this is insane. Like, what is stopping Imu from going to Luffy? Dami Reversy, Zoro, Dami Reversy, Sanji, Dami Reversy, Nami, Dami Reversy, and you get the point, right? What is stopping them? There has to be some way to avoid this. And I do not think it's Haki. I mean, and the thing is, people are saying, oh, maybe it is Haki. Sure. Let's say it is Haki. Then all the Straw Hats in the Sun Realm are getting clapped, except for Jinbei. Because nobody up here has Haki.
I would argue even Jinbei, because the like, here's the weird reality. And I don't want to extend it this far, but we did talk about how the Dory and Brogy had to be elevated for this arc, and he looked great here. We know they have Haki. You can't convince me that Saul showed like the Haki the way he did, and Hakoku sovereignty isn't like an insane amount of Haki. I like Dory and Brogy probably. I don't think it'd be crazy to say that Dory and Brogy are probably like above Jinbei in terms of Haki. Like, considering their giants lifespan, captains of their own crew, which Jinbei was technically, but like if we're like they conquers Haki also. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to it, and I love Jinbei, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's that crazy to say the current captains of the giant pirates and have lived 200 years basically, who have been fighting days every day for 100 years straight, they probably have a level of Haki that would make sense that you can at least benchmark them and say that if they can't resist via Haki what's going on right now, you could say they didn't try, you could say that too, but then I would argue, like, then at that point, like, nobody would be able to, because it's so quick. Like, there's not really much you can do against that.
Yeah, and,
like,
and
that's
don't
not
make
fair.
don't make me bounty scale, but brother, these guys are worth 1.8 billion. If people worth 1.8 billion are getting captured, then what's stopping, anybody below that? Yeah. Which is like a majority of the people in the world of One Piece, mind you.
Yeah, like at that point, Imu could just flip the island. Like, I'm surprised they didn't, right? Like, it's wild, and I like how the power manifested itself too via the game thematic, because it was like even the people who were there was like, wait, is it because Dory and Brogy were here? It flipped. That was really cool. And it's like, and it's also like automatic. Like, Imu didn't have to go Dami Reversy, or like do some crazy hand like flippy with the hand stuff. Didn't have.
If they were doing that, that would be pretty cool too, because that would be very I feel like it'd be very akin to like a music composer, not a composer. Sorry, like an conductor. There we go. I was in band, and I was like, I forgot, just blanked.
Oh, you were in band?
Yeah, I was in band until high school.
What you do? What you strumming?
I was a trumpet player.
No.
Yeah, I played the trumpet.
No.
I had my own like. I saved up during high school, and I bought like a fancy like silver brass trumpet.
What chair were you?
I was second chair.
I lost
first chair to a guy named Kalen. Rest in peace, Kalen. Yeah, Kalen was great.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, he was albino. I think he's dead now, though.
What, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I feel like I've heard around the block that he's passed, brother. Rest in peace, Kalen. Talented kid. Taken too soon.
Yeah. Too soon, yeah. No, I was freaking out because I played trumpet.
Really?
And I was second
trumpeter, huh?
I was second chair to my best friend, but it was to a point that the teacher, instead of making me second chair to the first, what were they called? I was the first chair in the second string. That's what it was after a point. But then I didn't want to be first chair in the second thing because that was more responsibility. So I was like, can I just be second chair in the first thing again? And then that's what I did. Something like that. But yeah, I was trumpet too. That's fucking
wild. I quit pretty early on into high school though, because I wanted to get bitches.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much same. I remember I carried in so I wanted to join band because in high school, but I never did. And the reason why was because I carried my trumpet case into school the first time, and I just like looked around and there was all the high school people, and I was like, yeah,
I'm not dealing with this. No, same. I was like,
that's
I
kind of
hit
how it
puberty.
went.
I really wanted to sleep with somebody, and I was like, man, the trumpet ain't helping, man. I gotta drop this, so I quit. I quit marching band.
Different result, or no, same result, different formula. But yeah, it was essentially I remember I think I carried it one time and I was like, bro, I think I'm gonna get bullied for this. Like
Yeah,
like not
I
even for
can't
the
get
part of
bullied.
like
I gotta stop.
not even I'm not talking about like playing the trumpet. Like my school is super musical. I meant like I'm this small ass kid carrying this big ass box, like, and I'm being obnoxious, like walking in the like I'm like an obstruction in the hallway. I'm like, bro, I don't want to get thrown. Like, I'm just gonna leave this box at home. I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to accidentally bump into like a football player and get like booted across like on accident. Like they probably didn't even mean to, and so they just hit the box and then it's like, yeah, I don't want that shit to happen.
So that image that I sent you, the One Piece party image of certain Straw Hats being depicted as demons and devils and monsters, and then other Straw Hats being depicted as heroes. Do you think that will actually have some weight here in Elbaf? Which, so you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but Oda,
because we don't put images, and our editors don't put the
yeah,
images up in the videos.
it's always fun when people say, "Oh, Sai, you're editors." It's just me. So yeah, you're right. The editors, man, damn those guys. They're so lazy.
You just got to get an editor hat.
Yeah. So what happened was One Piece has a spin-off manga. They have a couple of them, but one of them specifically, One Piece Party. I think there's like 30 or 40 volumes right now. And they're all little like joke, gag, spin-offs that have nothing to do with the actual plot line. And there was one specifically where some of the Straw Hats got turned into demons, and then other Straw Hats were heroes, and they tried to liberate the demons. And I thought it was kind of interesting because looking back at it, it's like, wait, maybe this is Oda foreshadowing Domi Reversy and how it would affect some of the Straw Hats even. Like, for example, Nami was labeled as a demon priest. Frankie was a golem. Brook was a demon king. Sanji was a slime monster. And then Chopper was a devil. Whereas the heroes, on the other end, the hero was Usopp. Usopp the hero, Zoro the warrior, Robin the magician, and then Luffy was the second hero, which I think is kind of fitting for Elbaf because in Elbaf, they both take the center spotlight, right? I mean, even back in, what was it, Egghead, right? Luffy and Usopp both celebrated the fact that they were going to Elbaf. Like, they really wanted to go here. So I do think that maybe this does hold some weight. And this could be what we see, right? We could see a couple of the Straw Hats being the heroes, whereas the other Straw Hats turning into monsters. And that is the matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it at least from the positive side. The demon side, besides Nami and Sanji, like Brook is a skeleton. He was summoned as a demon. Chopper is just like, he doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter where you put him. He's just Chopper. Never mattered. Stopped mattering after Drum Island. It's not a big deal. He's literally he was shown as pawns on the chessboard. Like he was shown as a backpack in the last cover story race that we saw. Like he's just tagged along at this point. Frankie, I mean thematically golems and like what's his face? Emmett was in Judaism the like clay golems, right? Like that had like the symbol on it. So like there's a lot of different references when it comes to like creationism and like where the people come from and stuff like that. Frankie could be there, especially being like a man conflicted with development and progress, and then became a cyborg because of unrelenting progress that led to weapons that were used incorrectly as per him. Though as a creator he struggled with it, bringing those creations into existence, which would be the conundrum that God would have to play with creating humans, which is a lot of mythos. But anyways, going back to the part I'm talking about One Piece, when you look at the people who were on the hero side or the good side, Hero Luffy, Mage Robin, Warrior Zoro, Hero Usopp, those unironically, when you told me, those are the ones that besides Usopp, but I can understand Usopp. I said that those would be the ones I think were like impervious from Dami Reversy if there was like a way to do it. And by impervious, I mean like somehow, like like it's like Vegeta taking the Majin Buu thing, and then he was like, "Oh, I wasn't really. I just wanted the power up," and then like everyone's like, are you for real right now? Like Piccolo's like, for real? Like that was all an act? He's like, yeah, I just wanted Kakarot to fight me like he fights the villains. So I acted like I was under it. And so the way I see it is like Luffy, obviously impervious, Gear 5, and Nika and Joy Boy and Luffy. Robin has demonio floors, and she like kind of fits the like she fits that role in a lot of ways anyways. So I feel like she might be able to do it because demonio floor form, like she wouldn't be as affected possibly. Zoro, King of Hell. And then with Usopp was a little interesting, but I was like, you know, he's positioned as God Usopp, so if there was another person to be like Luffy in that sense, Usopp would make a lot of sense. But then Usopp famously did something none of the other Straw Hats could do in a moment when Zoro said, if we would have lost without like intervention here, which is against Perona, whose name rhymes with Nerona, tried to use ghostly powers on the Straw Hats, and it affected everyone, giving them debilitating depression and completely over like wrote what they wanted to do. Like Luffy literally went from trying to, you know, investigate Thriller Bark and save Brook and save Nami and all that stuff to I'm a worm. I think he said snail, actually. He said like I'm a snail, I'm a slug. Oh, slug, that's what he said, a slug. And Usopp was unaffected. And that's where it's interesting, because like Usopp is that character where Oda gives the random buff to, and in moments like that it could make sense. Like if there's a vehicle similar to Perona's power with Imu, maybe Oda has written Usopp as one of the characters that is human and like is an outlier in even Imu's equation, which is how Oda has depicted Usopp to a greater extent. The best example in recent time would be film Gold and film not Strong World, Stampede and film Gold. In Red it was similar, but it was offset with Yasop and observational Haki. But whereas in Stampede, for example, he did a small act and it festered, it sat, and by the end of it, that ended up being the linchpin in Luffy being able to defeat Douglas Bullet in a lot of ways, because Usopp planted a seed and Douglas Bullet ignored it because he's just a regular human. And that ended up being one of the greatest reasons why Douglas Bullet fell. It wasn't the main reason. I wouldn't say it was the greatest thing. Oh, you could have wrote a lot of other things there, but Oda made Usopp that thing, and even gave a whole back and forth between Bullet and Luffy about why Usopp is not useless, which was like, it felt so forced, but that's a thing that happened. And in film Gold, a version of that was the overtaking the immense luck, basically god level luck that Baccarat had, and Usopp like overcame that because he was so unlucky. Same thing with Perona. He was so depressed, I guess. He's like, you can't make me more depressed than I already am when I look in the mirror. What are you talking about? And then Perona was just like, huh? What did he just say? Why did he act like that was a power up? And then that's the type of shit that Usopp would get against Imu. And I say all that to say that I don't expect Usopp to do anything in this arc against Imu, and I wouldn't necessarily like it. And that was a super chat that someone sent. It's like, hey, this is Usopp's moment. He's gonna shine against Imu. I'm like, no, please, no. That's not good for anybody. Not Usopp, not Imu, especially not Imu. Definitely do not want that for Imu. Ain't no way Imu debuts and then gets even like has to breathe heavily because Usopp is there. Ain't no way, bro. Not even close.
I see. Here's where I am, right? Now that Dory, Brogy, and all of them have been turned into demon monsters, I do think Usopp has a great chance to shine against them. but I do not want Usopp to beat Imu or push Imu back. I've seen theories about it, and the thing is, I could see it happening. It's just not what I would personally want.
Yes.
Because that would make Imu look too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, take this. How would you feel if we were in Wano? We're in Wano. We first meet Kaido. Kaido shows up to Curry. Luffy cannot do anything against Kaido. Luffy gets one shot, but here comes Usopp. Usopp shoots Kaido with the skull grass bomb. Kaido starts sweating. Or maybe, you know, people like to say it's something besides power. Usopp is such a coward. Kaido starts sweating. And he says, guys, I gotta go. Like, imagine Imu in that situation. Like, that is why I don't want that. Like, it would make Imu feel bad. It would make Kaido back then feel bad. Right? We can't do that to a villain like this. You could say that maybe Usopp wields something that is actually powerful, like maybe, you know, Ragnar, you know, because those theories were a thing, right? Like Usopp having Mjolnir, Ragnar, sure. Maybe Usopp just has some crazy affinity with it. He gets really lucky. His observation Haki pierces different dimensions for a minute, and then he doesn't beat Imu, but he simply hits Imu's weak spot and severs the connection. I'm okay with that. But if we're saying that Usopp is over here, you know, he's immune to Imu, Imu's getting scared because it's got Usopp, or like, I saw one person say that this is a parallel to Sugar, and the minute Usopp just shows a scary face, Imu's gonna pass out. I'm like, no, we cannot have that, dude. I mean, I love where the mindset was, but I do. If Imu passes out to Usopp because of something silly, that would be such negative PR.
I have an asterisk, which is just that not now, not this Usopp. There's an Usopp in everyone's mind, and we're not there yet. And there's no chance in Elbaf that we get that Usopp, because Elbaf has run its course, and we're not at a stage of, oh, here's the time for a training arc. Oh, you don't know about Haki? Let me give you a tutorial. There's no time for Usopp to develop even an iota of a direction towards anything that resembles anything that should be an obstacle to the current what we're seeing of Imu. And this is not final form Imu. And I'm still saying this would not make any sense, like Sai was saying. But, you know, as far as down the line, is it possible?
Yeah.
Possibly.
But just
There's
not right now.
That could happen. There's a lot of tools that could be added. There's so many things. But I will add that even in later stage Usopp, even that Usopp, and even then, no, I will not a Sugar.
I think. Oh yeah, no Sugar gimmick, please. I'm okay with Usopp hurting Imu if he gets a power up, but Usopp right now, no.
Yeah, like
it can't happen.
And I say the Sugar thing because, like, I get it, it's valid. The face one is silly. It makes sense. Sugar's like locked into a kid's body, and Imu like maybe as well. I don't know. But like, there's an aura difference. Like, Sugar isn't out here like straight up just like massacring and dominating. Like, even if you were to say like, oh, like they could both have a childish appearance and they could both speak like a kid and they could both have those gimmicks. But at the end of the day, Imu already is Sugar plus a cracked out meth head version of Doflamingo. Like, Doflamingo is like, this is like Doflamingo out there subjugated all of Dressrosa and was playing mind games on them. Imu's already been doing that. So it's not like Sugar. It's like Doflamingo plus Sugar. So even if you were to get that, you couldn't do it the same way as Sugar and it feel fine. I would accept the Perona one a lot more because I like the Perona one, which is like Usopp used the insect thing, which is thematic, has a Japanese like, you know, back lore to it that can extend to culture and, you know, differences, west, east, like that kind of stuff. So many things to it, but also the way Usopp did the Perona one was like a lot more natural, a lot more like cohesive. And if Imu ends up being this cracked out, over omnisciently powerful thing, and then has like a weakness that Usopp finds out and then exploits, that makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense for that's what Usopp would do. Now we can also add that he would be bolstered by like Vegapunk. He'd be bolstered by a bunch of Vegapunks at that, Neo-Mads. Like, there's probably going to be like a Whole Cake Island, like a Whole Cake Island level of coordination of effort, like where we saw like they sat down at a table and they put together the clues. Okay, Imu did this, Imu did that. I'm replacing Big Mom there, and they came up with the thing. We're gonna poison her. We're gonna do this. We're gonna break the frame. We're gonna do that. I would imagine something similar like that happen. So when it comes to like brain power, figuring out Imu, it's not gonna just be on Usopp. It's gonna be spread out amongst everyone. But at the end of the day, that cannot happen right now. So like, no, I get it. Elbaf, Usopp's arc, but like Sai said, the Max is like doing something against Dory and Brogy right now, and even that makes no sense. And I say that it makes no sense because now they're I would imagine Brogy right now is probably stronger than Loki, like normal Loki. Like maybe Loki with his Ragnar is stronger, but like Loki hand to hand with like this, it might go to Brogy, considering they're probably the same size now, and he has other buffs. Like, I mean, I'm not taking the regeneration in that. I'm saying like if Loki puts him down like 10 times, that counts as Loki winning. Like, I think that Brogy probably could beat Loki right now. That's how strong they probably are. So I don't know if it makes sense for Usopp to be in that realm either. Yet, at the moment.
I could see Loki and Usopp working together to take down Dory and Brogy. I think that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe Loki's devil fruit, because we don't know what it is. Maybe it needs like a second person, a companion, and Usopp ends up being that guy. But also there's still Hardin. Like Hardin is there as well. I know Hardin is really small, but Hardin could get buffed up. Like we're talking about Reversy and Go and turning pieces black and white. I do think there is a world where Hardin becomes the first white piece.
Oh.
Yeah. I think Hardin could become the first white piece, and him and Loki could contest Dory and Brogy, like as a duo, because we know these giants run in pairs.
I was thinking, so I could see a world where Hardin takes the Dami Reversy purposely, because he wants to take out Loki and he doesn't have the power. Right in front of him, he sees the ability to. All he has to do is conquer like the mindset. And if he sees like Dory and Brogy are conscious, it's not like they lost their minds. They're just like high off of this like thing, and obviously warped, right? Like they're warped to this, like they're like kill Ja Rule, right? Like and stuff like that. So it's not, but they're there, like their memories, they know, they're just like twisted and warped. But they have the same laugh still. Like that's another thing. Their personality is there. They're just like like the negative timeline, I guess, or. It's not bad timeline. It's like the dark timeline. I could see Hardin seeing that and be like, I can kill Loki? Sure, let's do it. And then like Reversy, he turns into the first white piece that way. That could make sense. He'd be the first reversed Reversy. That'd be kind of cool. If Luffy did that. And that would make sense because it is his Grand Fleet. That's his Grand Fleet captain right there. That could be cool. For Luffy to do.
Yeah, we put a lot of hype on Hardin. We love him. So we both expect the best.
Luffy's entire Grand Fleet getting Reversy would be kind of sick. Because then Luffy
by
fight
Luffy
all
or
of them?
Imu?
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, by Imu. So that they all fight Luffy like they're Bellamy. Oh, and then Bellamy could be the one white one because he's already turned. Wait, and then it wouldn't be Luffy versus Bellamy versus the Grand. Oh my God, the Grand Fleet captains versus Bellamy, the first villain that Luffy reversied.
I don't know. I feel like once Luffy learns how to, just like in Go, right? I feel like Luffy will turn his entire board, his group, into people who can't be reversied.
Well, I think in Reversy, you can't, there's no protection. In Go, there is.
But in Go, there's protection. Yeah.
In Go, there's protection, as we saw, when you make the living thing. But in Reversy, there's no protection. You can just go back and forth. But, I honestly like the Go version of the theory, but we're not there yet. We're at the Reversy stage. But so, like, given that, if Luffy were to turn back his crew, like that would be kind of wild. That would be kind of wild for the story. I mean, there's the stipulation that technically Reversy kills you, right? Like,
Yeah, we don't know how it works yet.
yeah,
But there's a chance that Dory and Brogy cannot come back.
Yeah. Well,
like,
within
because
their
lifespan is gone.
Yeah,
according to Imu.
I mean, the other world is that they can be reversied. They just can't like go back to like Lil Garden Dory Brogy. Like they can't ever go back to that.
Yeah.
It could be that the lifespan's still gone, but they're like on Luffy's side now. It'd be interesting.
Or maybe Luffy can just like flat out like cancel it.
Yeah, there's that too.
One black, one white, neutral.
Yeah.
That could be it. But yeah, so let's see here. What is next in the chapter? I guess that's pretty much it, right? We just see that final panel. We see all the giants just lining up. The MMA monsters are also in the zone. Their eyes are just lightening out like Kuroko no Basket. And Imu just says, hey, this nation shall not be laid to waste. It is to be ruled instead. And that is when Yarul realizes that something's up, right? And they're like, hey, Yarul, you should run. But Yarul says, no. Warriors do not know the meaning of the word run. And it's like, damn, dude, is Yarl going to get that old man glow up? You know, because Yarl, when we last saw him, man, he was getting tossed by Big Mom. So has he trained since then? Is he now that guy?
Yeah. I'd like to think. I think I said it a long time ago. Like, I think we both were talking about this potential that Yarul, like earlier you were saying like maybe Yarul like knows Imu, right? But then another thing would be like Yarul might be the only giant who can hurt Imu.
Yeah, like maybe he knows the secret.
Yeah, like because I think it's clear that Brogy and Dory don't because of Egghead. Like they were like, I ain't never seen this shit, right?
Yeah.
Yarul might be different. Yarul probably know, or I'd like to think that Yarul knows something, which is why I was like, I could see the potential of what you were saying, that he like literally knows or literally experienced, whether through Harold or through what I was saying or something in between. I'd like to think that maybe his papa taught him like a certain thing that need to be passed down, and he learned it, and then they if none of the giants in between him and Ilva ever needed it, then he probably stopped teaching it, because it's like, what was the point if my son and his son and his son's son and his son's son, why would I need to teach anybody if none of them needed it, right? Like it could be something like that. I feel like we did this last time though. I feel like I said some crazy shit like, oh, when the monsters are sieging Elbaf, oh, what would you like to see, Part? And my answer was, oh, I'd like to see Yarul crash out and be the front line, at least one monster to show them like he is, and like give a morale boost. And then that didn't happen. And like now he has another chance. Now he has another chance. But there is a dangerous alternative. I'm curious if you thought about it already though.
What Yarl getting reversied?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and he
Yarl,
becomes
he could get reversied, man.
Yeah, and it'd be like oh my god, I forgot his name. Oh my god, this is terrible. The guy, oh no, I should not forget his name. The blue guy, blue hair, not Yasue. The old guy who taught Luffy Haki. Rio. How did I forget his name?
Oh, him. Hyogoro.
I was gonna say Hagoromo. I'm like, that's not him. It's a different Japanese word with an H. Hyogoro. When he turned Ice Oni, he became like Odin. He literally started thinking like, bro, I should have joined hands with you, Odin, back in the day. If I remember feeling like this, you know? And it was when the Ice Oni virus that brought him back to his prime. And then he was like coked up too with his like wisdom age thing, and he was like insanely powerful, and he was able to hold off everybody to the point he was so dominating that he started garnering respect from people were like, damn, this is what like he ain't even Yakuza like that though, you know, like they were giving him mad respect. And Yarul, imagine he gets locked back into his prime plus wings and horns. Oh my god, Yarul would probably be like, he might be like a contender for like a Roger Whitebeard type of conversation, bro.
Dude, you and these people in their primes, man. Same with like King Neptune. Oh, King
no,
Neptune,
I'm not talking about just prime. No, this is Reversy.
I mean, even Reversy, I don't think Yarul is going to be Roger level or legend level.
Okay, we're talking 400-year-old prime Reversy. Nah. That has to put him at least. There's no shot that like. Okay, see, this is where I want Reversy Yarul to be. I don't want him to be at a place where like an admiral can scoff at it. That's why I'm like, yeah, he's a contender for them.
If
like there's,
I'm not gonna lie, dude. If Yarul gets Reversy, nobody's caring.
What?
Nobody's caring, dude.
There's no shot that you think that.
I do not think. Okay, I don't think he's weak. I think he'll just be Dory and Brogy level.
I think he's gonna little bro Dory and Brogy, dude.
I don't think he would, man. Yarul, nah.
I think he's gonna.
That guy.
I think that's the. Not only is that the perfect, like, I think that might be like the one of the craziest things, but I think what is it's not a downside, but it's just not necessary at the moment because there's not opposition. Like we were talking about it before, how like right now, you know what's funny? We were talking about like who's gonna come to Elbaf with Daxake, right? We did it separately too. And we went down the list, and Imu was on that list, and a lot of us were like, but we're really worried, and we're going through that right now. And we were basically saying like the Straw Hats don't really need anybody. Adding more to their plate is not necessary because the Holy Knights are already going to look terrible, right? And Scopper really added to that fire because he alone made the Holy Knights look awful. If we had that conversation with Dax post Scopper, I think we would have been like, yeah, no, Imu needs to. It's either all the Holy Knights or like all the Gorosei or like that. This cannot be happening. The 3 Holy Knights cannot be dispatched by Scopper like that in that first chapter, right? Obviously we saw what happened afterwards. But then you add that, like, you know, he was able to take down 1 Holy Knight, and then you have Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and then you have Loki, you know, to some capacity there. I'm not too worried about the rest of the Holy Knights. So Imu coming makes sense, right? But now the tables are reversied, and now it's like there's not enough. I don't think that there's enough power, like, that could, like, stop what's happening right now. Like, what could stop Imu plus all the giants reversied? Right, so that's why I'm like, yeah, like what I described as Yarul being like Lil Broing Dory and Brogy, I fully believe that, but I also don't think it's like really that necessary because it's already so much in favor for Imu, because Imu can. I fully believe that Imu in Gunko's body, Killenham, that definitely equalizes whatever force, if not overpowers whatever force already. And then you took the strongest giants, that takes care of the rest of the giants. So like now Luffy needs the help. And where's that help coming from? I don't know. But I don't think that the board is balanced at all right now. Even right now, I think that the balance is in Imu's favor heavily. So that's where it's like the Yarul thing. I would like it if Yarul got like Reversy to Luffy's side and then Lil Broed, but that's too far. Luffy's not gonna Reversy anyone in this arc, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. Do you think anyone's gonna get white Reversy this arc?
Maybe Harden, but that's it.
Do you think Bonnie is gonna run any type of interference with Imu.
Maybe.
Second arc as Nika. Do you think
that wouldn't be bad?
That would be crazy. I feel like that would be so dangerous. I feel like if I was Imu and I saw someone else turn into Nika, I'd insta-kill that. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, just get rid of them.
Insta-killed. Yeah, no shot. No shot.
Yeah,
the moment they go back to Bonnie,
when it comes to Yarl, though, like I don't even know if we're gonna get him reversied because Imu's the one who directly ordered him to get killed. They told Dory and Brogy to cut his head off.
Yeah, that's also interesting, right? Like, isn't like they like people were saying like, oh maybe like Imu just works like that because they were trying to like, why would they just declare them king? Why does it have to Yarul? Like, why did they have to kill Yarul, right? And then they were saying, like, maybe it's like a custom. Like, maybe there's something we're going to learn about Imu in the kingdom they were from, or Nerona family thing.
Or the other 20
like
kingdoms.
And then the other side of the explanations that I saw and thought about was that maybe there's something specific to Yarul. And then now that you pointed out, like, the specific look that Yarul had when Imu showed off Haki, maybe there is something specific about Yarul that like Imu is like, oh, it's not a big problem, but I'd rather just eliminate it, like it's better to just kill it. Maybe Yarul can't be reversied.
Maybe. But also, like, when it comes to people who can't get reversied, outside of Luffy, making that not possible, do you think the D-Clan would be good candidates for that?
Yeah. Which I wonder if Ace in Luffy like did a ritual to give Sabo the D, would he be like impervious to like Imu stuff, obviously he got stabbed by the tail.
I think so.
Oh, maybe
because right now that's like there's not a lot of D-Clan members. Damn, there's not a lot of D-Clan members. If that theory is true that D-Clan members cannot get reversed, there's not a lot of them anyways. Yeah, so I think it would make sense if there was like a quote ritual or something you could do for non-D-Clan members to make them D-Clan members temporarily, so that you don't get reversed.
Vegapunk,
and it could be exchanging the sake.
Vegapunk could have been saying, among one of you, the D-Clan is a black piece. Meaning like all of them are white pieces and then one of them is a black piece. Like, because then if you were to play the game and one of your pieces was like fake white, that would mess you up insane. And you didn't know and you were just being countered by it. That'd be kind of nuts. Or it could be that Vegapunk is saying one of you is a white piece, meaning like would them not being able to be reversed, would that mean that they were already black pieces? So Imu can't turn them to black piece, right? And then Vegapunk would be like, among you is a white piece.
That's funny because we somehow came full circle to one of the original theories that like Vegapunk said, among you there's a traitor. Yeah. So it's kind of funny how we did that, but with Reversy.
Yeah, we reversed course and everything's a circle, bro. Everything's a circle.
Yeah, everything's a circle.
Yeah. Straight lines can be a circle too. A lot of people think the earth is flat, but if they go far enough, they see that it's a circle.
So who else would you want to get reversed? Like outside of Elbaf, like forget Elbaf for a minute, pretend like Elbaf does not exist. Marines? Pirates? So you think of Revs even?
Because like Garp is an obvious, like I'd like to see him reversed, but
okay, wait. How about this? One character, you pick one character that gets reversed. Who are you picking?
Are we not? So are we taking in consideration if I think they can be reversed?
No.
Okay.
We're not getting into the nitty gritty because we don't even know. Like, right?
Weevil.
We're just assuming.
I want to see Weevil, bro.
Weevil reversed?
Yeah. Unless I can get Whitebeard. Because Whitebeard was like normal human, but like big. Like, because Shanks and Whitebeard were both just the normal dudes. Yeah. But Whitebeard was actually just like Kaido, but like a human. So like, what happens there? Like, what's the potential in Whitebeard? And Weevil's the closest thing, right? Like, and he's already, everyone already has the theories that he's gonna be coming sculpted out like a Greek god coming out of Impel Down. And now Impel Down is being brought, like, we haven't even gotten a mention of Impel Down, but this entire chapter was just Impel Down. So like Weevil, bro. Weevil's feeling more and more important every day. Weevil being Reversy would be kind of sick.
Yeah, I agree.
like Weevil.
I think Weevil's Reversy would be sick. I would want... I'm not gonna lie, man. I believe in the potential. Give Kobe a Reversy.
Kobe Reversy.
And the reason why I picked Kobe specifically is because Kobe is such an altruistic character. I just want to see him corrupted.
I think... So this is where it's like, what does not corrupted mean? Because I think that my logic right now is that the people that can't be corrupted are already corrupted. Like, and they just meant, like, so I was gonna say Akainu can't be reversied. Like, he'd be a character I don't think, because he's already like, like the problem with not Navy, but like the perspective of Kobe is friends with pirates. Kobe understands like the pirate world, right? Like, it's not as black and white as his character lets off. Like, he's in Sword, and justice is as clear day as it could be. Whereas like Kuzan is an interesting example, because he saw the darkness of the thing and changed his justice, and to the point where Garp is telling him, you're wavering in your justice, you're not confident in even what you're doing right now. Whereas Kobe's the opposite of that. And so that's where I'm like, I don't know if Kobe, like, saying the word is corrupted doesn't work with Kobe, but it's the sense of like there's evil there. There's evil there, but they just utilize it correctly. And like Akainu would fit, Luffy would fit, Zoro would fit, Sanji would fit. Like, the characters that I have in mind, they all have like that same thing, which Oda gave Kobe a little bit of, at least. You know, he did start off in a pirate crew. There were a lot of things that he says. It's like, you know, he accepts pirating way more than I forget what the word would be, like a vanilla Navy officer, I guess. He's way more nuanced than that. But yeah, the Weevil, Kobe would be sick. Yeah, I was like,
the
Moria
Admirals
would be
even
an interesting one too. Admirals, yeah, I think I don't think the Admirals can. I don't think the Admirals can. I think I'm not even an Admiral fanboy. I just think that the Admirals are, besides Green Bull, but even Green Bull would kind of fit, is like so like Kuzan wouldn't necessarily fit. Like, he literally demonstrated against Garp, like Garp pointed out the exact reason why he would be reversied, which is like the whole like locked in on their sense of justice, the sense of morality, right? Like, that's kind of what they need, like the sense of morality. Your morality can't be tipped anymore. Like, Luffy sees stuff and he doesn't get swayed. He's not like easily swayed. That not Zoro's not like that either. Sanji, to a certain extent, isn't like that. And I say to a certain extent because there's obviously gaps there. But it's like that morality meter. That's where it's at. Like, Oda has shown Kuzan to be wavering, and that's why I said Green Bull is kind of different, because I don't think it's as strong as Akainu, Kizaru, Fujitora. And the main thing that I'm focusing on is that, like, when you get to that Admiral thing, the main thing that you have locked in that Kuzan didn't is sense of justice. To be there, you uphold that justice.
Though. Is that the mindset might not even have anything to do with being able to be reversied or not, though.
Yeah, that's where obviously, like, this chapter,
because we're just making that assumption, though.
Yeah. Off of, like, you know, this chapter, it's hard to say, but that's just my inkling off of, like, you know, the position of Reversy, where Luffy's the opposite side of the board, right? That's kind of where I see it, where it's like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, the perspective we get of pirates are good. No, pirates are the evil people, right? theoretically, right? And the whole point are the characters in the gray recognizing the problems within their own system and the outside. Those are the main players. Those are the characters that aren't just black or white. They're the gray characters, which is why I'm like, oh, they probably can't be flipped because they're gray. So it like that's why it's not even like a mindset thing. It's like that's why with like certain characters, like I don't really know. It's just like that's the instinct of like if I were to pick characters who weren't there, I don't think the admirals would be there. But I do agree with you that as far as reversing them, yeah, that'd be sick. I was just stopping at like, damn, I don't think that they can. Like maybe some, but like I don't like Akainu, Fujitora, and Kizaru. I think, especially Kizaru post Egghead, I think is kind of we didn't know much about him before, but yeah, I think that he's safe now, probably.
I mean, since we don't know how Reversy works, I'm not gonna go on the mindset of like, oh, like your mentality, your sense of justice, you know, like are you gray, are you white, are you black already? I don't take any of that into consideration yet.
Yeah.
Just because I think that's a slippery slope.
As that's what I'm saying. I agree with that. Like as far as Reversy canons, that'd be cool. That'd be sick pixels on the screen, brother. But that's why I was just like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's weird though because when it came to the Gear 5 thing, I say this all the time in videos. I envisioned a world where Nika, well, we didn't know Nika, but Gear 5 was giving Luffy's allies rubber powers. Now the scope would be like, especially after Egghead, it'd be allowing everyone to get to the realm of Nika, similar to how Bonnie was able to open that potential timeline. Luffy would be able to allow that for everybody, influence that for everybody. And I had that in mind, but yet for some reason, like I can't picture some characters going the opposite way. So then why would I picture them being able to achieve Nika either? So now that I'm kind of thinking about it with that mindset, it's like, damn, maybe there's another limitation on who can become Nika if you look at it from who can become demonified. And maybe it's more exclusive than I think it is, and it's just the D-Clan. Maybe it's more expensive, and maybe more people develop into that mindset, and maybe that's what saves like humanity. Humanity doesn't radicalize to one side. They're all gray. They look at everything for what they is, and they develop their own sense rather than following a sense of whatever. But yeah, that's why like I like the thematics that Imu is also like Oda's presenting via Imu, and also like the complexities and openness that there is, right? There's so many potentials now that didn't even exist a chapter ago. It's kind of crazy how much happened in one chapter.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the implications of turning characters to different sides. Instantly. I think just instantly is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But it's a good power though. I mean, it's very fitting for a final villain.
Yeah.
This is what you kind of expect.
What percent of Imu's power do you think we saw this chapter?
I'd say 10%.
10%.
Yeah,
I think wild. It's 10%. That's wild, but I don't disagree. I wouldn't confidently say 10%, but I think 10% makes sense because it's not, especially because you and I share the part where it's like definitely more Gunko limiting like this is Gunko's appearance stuff. It could be Gunko like limitations because it's like literally from a distance, like so many other reasons. And because of all those reasons, 10% could make a lot of sense. And it could also be that more than 10% isn't even necessary. It could also be that too. It could be that insulting, even to Luffy. Like and the reality is, the lower the number, theoretically, if executed well, the more interesting it'll be for Luffy to overcome this obstacle. And the other part of it is it's likely that, like Onigashima, and this is some of the positive things that I like to take from Wano, is that Oda with Gear 5 tried to break like shonen tropes of everything getting like, you know, more serious and more escalated in power on a one-dimensional scale. And he threw out Gear 5, this idea that he had a while ago, and he executed it, and some people hated it, some people liked it, whatever. He's trying something different, and the goal was he wanted to have Kaido, this insanely scary creature that he developed, which was true and stays true, to be like diffused by this silly goofy thing that instills like an opposition in him. He didn't want it to be like on the same dimension in that realm, right? And I think similarly, Oda can break a trope that I loved when I saw like in JJK, though it was called like, I forgot, JJK Jump or something like that, where it was like 2v1. And that was different than a lot of this usual shonen thing was 1v1. And you go on without me, I'll take care of this. And One Piece does that a lot. And Film Red was a depiction of not just Luffy's crew acting in like domino effect, whose attack coordinating with another one. It was Luffy and Shanks's crew. And so I would love it for it to be that Imu is like max, like Luffy can bring out maybe 40, 50, 60, 70%, but to get to the 100%, it can't just be like a 1v1. He brings out a giant fist from the heavens. It's a Bajrang ultimate booming dawn fist of death or something like that, of liberation. No, I'd like it to be more like that Film Red thing where it's like a combo attack, coordination attack. Like I still like, yeah, Zoro had that awesome thing against a king, but in my brain, I love the Sanji Zoro fight when they had against King and Queen, and the attack and the animation and the manga. I love that, and I want to get more of that, and I hope we get more of that. And we low-key did get some of that, we got combo attacks like in this arc that was callbacks from Alabasta when Luffy, Zoro, Sanji were fighting the alligator thing in Alabasta. I think they had like a combo attack, and they did that again. So like Oda's probably going that way, and I think that when you say 10%, that does make sense if you account for the probability that Oda is going to start making like all these combo attacks. And even Luffy's finishing move against Top Musica was not just Luffy, it's Luffy and Shanks. So we're probably getting a world where that's the finisher, right? Luffy plus something versus Imu or Blackbeard, or Luffy plus Blackbeard versus Imu. Who knows?
Yeah.
Possibilities are open.
That's what I think too. I think the matchups are going to be really fun to see and to pick out. And I think that's pretty much where we're going to end it right here.
Yeah. Legendary 3 a.m.
Yeah, Legendary 3 a.m. stream or live or recording ending at what seems to be 6:30 a.m.
6:30. Yeah,
late night, man.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, man. Well, thank you, Par, as per usual, for joining us on the Parcast. And thank you guys for watching until the very end. We will catch you guys next week because there is no break. Probably going to be a break after the next chapter, though. 11:51. 3 in a row? That's typically what Oda goes for. So whatever Oda's going to do next chapter, he's going to... I mean, I don't really know how you up the ante after all these cliffhangers, but he's going to find a way, man. I mean, Imu's just the gift that keeps on giving. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll catch y'all later. Peace out.
Peace.